Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, the crossover is powered by Everlow Concrete Repair and at everlowconcrete.com. Okay.
Good topic.
Yeah. You want to keep it going?
Well, hey, what topic would you like us to discuss? The sandwich
Is fire away.
or who is the most famous person you've seen naked in person?
Josh Hudson, you get to pick.
I can dabble with either.
Some guy at the gym, probably.
You look like you might be a CEO of a
if
Fortune
I'm being
500 company in
no,
Omaha.
Eric.
When I was working out,
That's it. That's why I don't go to the gym anymore.
I used to
Because of naked men?
No, I just because I'm lazy, but that doesn't help.
You know, it's like the golf clubhouses have become an area where there's more nakedness, I've noticed.
Well, I grew up in
Some
a
dudes
hockey
don't
locker
care.
room, so it kind of was standard, just ever since I was very young that you just kind of see that stuff.
Yeah. Some people don't care. Some people prefer it. They're like, I'm just gonna walk around.
Well,
Go ahead, take a
If
look.
you have the body, I mean, good on you.
Take a look.
I was using my dad's gym membership when I was back home in Chicago, and he's got a nicer.
You're from Chicago?
No,
I was
yeah,
going to say it if you didn't.
Sorry. Keep going.
The bean is undefeated.
when I was back home in an undisclosed area. Are you over it yet? You've been
No,
sick,
I'm
man.
not over it.
I mean,
You sounded good at the beginning. Then I heard you on the crossover yesterday.
It fades.
Yeah.
It fades. It fades.
4 hours.
I've
is a long
definitely
time.
seen the lower extremities of CEOs or power brokers within the.
That's cool. Which
yeah.
company?
I don't know. I didn't ask him. I didn't ask. I go, is that a Deloitte or is that an Ernst & Young? I didn't ask him that question.
Nice.
But I was pretty confident that that guy's probably making multi-million-dollar decisions.
Nice.
Okay.
You can tell that just by looking
Stim
at it.
said he saw Tommy Shaw of Styx naked through a crack on an airplane hangar when they played at the Columbus airport.
That's called a peeping Tom.
Need you
Sid.
to drive to the station,
No.
Stibbs, and give us the full
No,
story.
he just caught a glimpse. That's not looking. You just
Was
catching
he
a glimpse.
changing clothes in the hangar?
I don't
or-
know what's going on in the hangar. I don't know what. I don't,
Poll question. What's going on in the hangar?
I don't know what's
Hanging and
going on in
banging.
the hangar.
Okay. So this came up from our baby boy over there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how
a
it
baby
came
boy.
up.
I brought it up.
I know how it came up because you guys were talking about volleyball being the sandwich of the.
Oh,
and then he's talked
on,
about
on
cream.
the day in November.
Yeah, I was listening.
The
Yeah.
the
Thank
volleyball,
you.
Nebraska, Minnesota volleyball are playing in the middle of the day. Notre Dame Navy are playing at night, and there will be a random Big Ten game beforehand. It won't be Nebraska UCLA.
They don't. By the way,
that
don't
would
they?
be
Well,
at like 10:30 in the morning.
they're not going to put. They're not going to put a game on NBC at 11. They on Peacock.
So apparently they're going to do noon.
NBC is going to have a game at noon.
They're going to play a game at noon, and then Nebraska Minnesota volleyball, and then at 6:30 will be
Whoa.
Navy Notre Dame.
Weird. Anyway, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's how it started.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they said cream filling, and then
Which is what it is.
So I believe that it's 2 against 2 in this room. About
You haven't asked my thoughts yet.
Careful.
well, I saw your tweet.
Yeah.
Okay, is an Oreo cookie a sandwich?
I don't engage in these conversations.
why?
That's right. He doesn't.
Why?
I don't engage in these conversations.
Why? Because you get in trouble? Is this
Is
how
a
you get in
hot
trouble?
dog a sandwich? I don't care. Jesus.
Is a taco a sandwich?
You call whatever
I
you
never really
want.
thought about that one.
Whatever you want. Of course, anything can be a sandwich if you want it to be. Anything can be a sandwich. This is not like if you are doing the if you are doing the what an actual sandwich is, like it's 2 pieces of bread with something sandwiched
Construct.
in between. Yeah,
It's a construct.
Construct.
A sandwich is a construct.
which you're right.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
right,
you.
but I don't care. You could call it whatever you want.
So are you saying that you, like many other people, just tuned out of the station while this was going on?
I'm saying that
You turned off the radio?
Actually, no. People love that debate.
yes.
Connor just chooses not to participate
Yep.
in the.
I don't wade into those
yeah.
waters.
I do want
I don't have strong opinions
I
on
do want
it.
to say, this wasn't like on our show sheet. I wrote down, hey, is an Oreo cookie a sandwich? Okay.
Yeah.
This wasn't like hey, Gare, I got a great way to fill the 9 o'clock hour on July 1st, on this Tuesday.
Mhm.
It was very much a natural.
We
I've
were-
always said
So
that Oreo
there's
cookies are
that.
sandwiches.
There's a hot dog a sandwich. There
See-
is chili soup. I do not care what you call it.
You're still going to eat it.
Sure, you
Okay.
could call it whatever you want. Is it chili soup?
I don't. Yeah.
You
I know.
do?
I'm in the same boat.
Okay. All right.
I really am. But this one, I am in the boat of. Here's why I'm so passionate about this. Because
Yeah,
it's
why
just
are you passionate
Because
about
not
this?
enough people talk about it. Like this isn't a convo.
No.
That
No. Way too many people talk about it.
Way too many people talk about it. Is the hot dog a sandwich and is chili a soup or anything like that? But I haven't heard the whole is the Oreo cookie a sandwich.
I mean,
You
it
know?
says right on the package,
It
chocolate
does.
sandwich
it's,
cookie.
It's a sandwich cookie.
People
know?
talk too much about what is or isn't a sandwich.
That's correct.
Okay. I just felt like this was the Oreo is a very good opportunity here to just take them out and just establish the fact that it is a sandwich.
If I
Chili is
put
chili.
my hands on the side of my face, am I a sandwich?
You aren't. No, you. No.
Am I? Idiot sandwich?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Got it. That's what what's his name did, right? Gordon Ramsay?
Put these two pieces of bread together. What are you?
It's idiot sandwich. You're an idiot sandwich. You're an idiot sandwich. Yeah. That's right. There you go.
I'm an idiot
Looks
sandwich.
like an idiot sandwich right now.
No, but it is a sandwich. Josh Johnson, your opinion, because he's boring over here.
Oh, Josh, I wonder what your opinion is.
He doesn't care
Um,
either.
I mean, it says it right on the package, sandwich cookie.
Thank you.
Hard to
Thank you.
argue against.
Hey,
Yeah,
good
that's
job
fine.
waving the white flag.
That's
you.
fine.
You're
Yeah.
like,
Hey,
yeah, I'm good.
This is like growing up. We always played. We're gonna play the game until Matthew wins, and this is what this feels like.
Yeah,
Everybody,
I have
I'm
learned.
just gonna keep
That is-
yelling.
That is what it felt like.
This is what this feels like. I'm just gonna keep yelling, be passionate about it, and everybody else goes, you know
yeah,
what?
I didn't
man,
even
it
get
ain't
the sense
deep.
that you cared at all, really.
I did for like the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, then
That-
he's- but
That's the
he-
key to everything,
But
though.
I
If you're
did pose a
engaged,
question to him.
so here's the deal. If you are engaged in a debate and you feel as if there is no way out, you were like Batman in the gulag. You're like, I cannot climb out of this thing.
Sure.
I am
Okay.
going to lose. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
You say, I don't care. you say,
It
I
is-
don't
it is
care.
the most frustrating thing ever. By the way.
Completely. 100.
It is because you're getting your butt whooped. I'm whooping your butt,
Yep.
and now you don't care.
You guess
You
what? I
cared-
don't care.
You cared when you thought you were winning. You know. Now
Nope.
you don't.
Nope. Yep.
Here's
You immediately change paths. You say,
I
I don't care about this
disagree.
actually. So
Here-
whatever you're arguing
here's the
with, I
thing.
don't care about.
You put it down as Gary didn't care, and Gary says, "Well, I cared for the first 2 minutes," but Gary knows what butters this, the show's bread, and that's just him throwing piece of papers into my fire and just waiting for me to spontaneously combust.
So I said
That's
to
right.
him,
That's right.
I said, if you are going to a tailgate and they say you're in charge of the sandwiches and you show up with Oreo cookies, what's the response?
Oh, the response would be vitriol.
See, then I turned off the microphone and I said, "Let's go to break." and
Dear God.
yeah, I go break.
you can do
and I
that.
turn off the microphone.
See, but that's where we get into the technicality thing of like,
Well, so-
you
so
know,
my-
So
But-
Matt,
because
Matt
nobody's
then
gonna
walked
do
me
that.
Through, Matt walked me through how it's constructed.
Yes. And I would bring turkey sandwiches because there's an understanding that if we're at a picnic, we have turkey sandwiches. But then I would also bring Oreo cookies and be like, I didn't know which one you were talking about. So I covered all my bases.
no, you
and I
wouldn't.
brought-
What if
you would just-
Oreo has false advertising on their package?
It's a sandwich.
Sure,
Could be false advertising.
Connor does not give a damn.
it's a sandwich.
All right, now I'm curious about one other thing we talked
It's
about.
Oreos. Chili is chili.
I don't really know it's a debate. It's just a good perspective. What game did you know that Scott Frost was cooked?
Oh, good one.
Oh, wow.
We spent an hour
Okay,
today on
so
this.
there was levels to this, right?
Mhm. Cooked to the point
So
of
it's
firing.
a game. No, it's a game. So it's not like, hey, when Trev was hired or
Sure.
the press conference where
The first level is like, what's going on here?
Yes.
And that happened in the first year, and then it probably there was another game or two probably I'm just trying to think back, and then in the second year it was like, actually this guy might not have it, and then it probably didn't happen, and then maybe COVID happened, maybe it wasn't until 21, but it was probably somewhere in 19.
So Matt did Michigan State in 21. I did the first game of the 21 season in Champaign,
Okay,
where
so
I knew he was cooked.
That's which game you thought he wasn't going to make
Yep,
it, like
this
he
is
didn't
it.
have it.
This is it.
It was the first instance. How I took it was the first instance you were like, "Oh, this is not
Because
going to end well."
You know, like if you go back to the end of the COVID year, like the game against Rutgers, remember how excited everybody was on that Friday night? Turner Corcoran was playing as a true freshman. People were like, "Ooh, this is the future."
Yeah.
And it
And
was
then
a,
they were like,
a
let's not
28-21 game.
let's not go to a bowl game.
But they won.
Great
and you're
idea.
like, okay, we
Let's
made
not
it.
get extra
We made it through
practices.
COVID. And then there was a little bit of hype in the 21 off season.
Yeah.
And then spring was like, remember Omar Manning was here? And you were like,
Manning,
oh
with his
my.
beautiful
God.
voice.
The
And then you were like,
number
here
one
we
JUCO
go.
wide
They were
receiver.
an older team. You had Adrian at quarterback,
Oscar
came
Allan.
Taylor Britt, and then it was your older guys that effed up. And that was the game when I went, up, not a chance. And then the post game just reiterated.
That's a very, very good. I would, without thinking about it too much deeper, that would have been one of the top 2 or 3 games that I would have pinpointed. I hated that. That is, to this day, my least enjoyable experience doing a post game show. The 2021 Illinois game. I hated that. I hated that
What
show.
in particularly did you hate about it?
Because of what Frost said at the end.
Where he was like, "We didn't make adjustments to their adjustments."
Yeah, we had throughout half the playbook.
half
the playbook.
Throughout half the playbook.
well,
know.
remember, so
they lined up in a different front,
So
and
all the
coach who paid all
post
the
game
money couldn't
shows
adjust to it.
started, and so you had a reaction because remember, Nebraska made it interesting at the end, where they would have had a score and then go for 2 to tie the game and send it overtime, but they still had a chance at the end after being down by 3 scores. So you start your post game, and then like we all do, you pause and you're like, okay, here's Frost post game.
Here's a stupid
and
press
then
conference.
what he says, and then you're right. Those shows then went off the rail.
Incredibly
Well,
unenjoyable.
it's just one of those things too, where it's like it was the same thing to a certain extent when he talked about we have guys that are throwing up every practice, right? Where it's just like, man, if that's the case, you don't have to say that. Like, you don't have to tell us that. Like, you don't have to reveal that to us.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
no,
you're just shooting yourself.
it
in the
wasn't.
foot.
It wasn't the fact that they had guys throwing up. It was the fact that he was happy about
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Where it's just like, dude, like show that you have your finger on the pulse. And when you go, yeah, I'm a professional football coach, and the other team came out in something I didn't anticipate, and we didn't react to it. It was stupid.
Now,
Michigan State game for me though.
now the one that got the coach that got the most run was there were a lot of people that submitted all 19 losses of Mike Riley.
every single one of them.
Every single one of them.
Well, the first one hurt.
Would that be your pick
No,
on the game that Mike Riley was cooked?
no,
was
because I'm a little bit more.
BYU, and why do we have those guys on the field?
I am a little bit more. Have you ever watched that play again?
No.
The close up. So Luke Gifford and many others, but Luke Gifford was like the closest. He was behind. Everybody ended up behind the guy.
Yeah.
For some reason. I'm like, what are we doing? Anyway, that was not the. I'm a little bit more optimistic, and I will hold off on judgments, especially after one game. But it was certainly not a good start, and did not have good omens. They didn't play horrible. They didn't play bad.
And that BYU team was pretty good.
But that was the year where Tommy threw 100 interceptions. 100.
I don't think he threw 100.
It was close. He
Against
threw 4,
Iowa,
he
he
threw
did.
4 against Iowa.
And they all were like big time plays.
Yeah. Yep. Nebraska should have won that game by like 3 touchdowns, and they lost. Classic. Playing Iowa.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
see how many
It
interceptions.
wasn't that game. The Illinois game that year where Tommy threw it, but he was supposed to run it or
On
whatever
third
that
down.
was. Yeah.
He
Ozigbo
threw
was supposed to get
44 interceptions at Nebraska.
How many interceptions did he throw in 15, Josh?
16.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
much less than I thought.
But that still
I
is
would've-
more than one a game.
I would've
That
thought-
still is
I mean,
a
he was
lot
a
of
lot.
interceptions.
He was close to. He was one of the most in the country that year, I think.
Well,
I mean,
that's where YOLO came from.
Yeah. Oh, he was hucking that thing.
that's
there.
I mean, one a game if you're comparing like to the NFL, it's like that number is like 24, 25 in the NFL. If you were to
Well, they
move
play
that over. They play 16.
17.
Yeah, exactly. So 16 interceptions in 12 games is terrible.
But they all, like with Tommy's interceptions, they weren't like, hey, I threw it on first down and 10, as we got the ball at midfield. They always seemed to be like just backbreakers. Like the interceptions against Iowa were huge because Nebraska.
Or there was a pick six
as-
where the guy just walked in.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
The game in 15, if I recall, I mean, Nebraska was in that game.
Nebraska should have won.
Yeah, it was a 28-21, bitterly cold. That was a really good Iowa team.
Yep. Iowa was undefeated.
It was 28-20.
Iowa was undefeated.
He threw. Sethan Carter was open in one side of the end zone and threw it to the other.
I remember the Miami game in 15. So like he was playing horribly and Nebraska was getting run out of the building, and then he was like, bleep it, I'm going off on my own script. And then they came back, went to overtime, and immediately threw an interception.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
Tommy was second in the country that year with 16 interceptions,
Yeah.
one behind Virginia's Matt Johns.
Matt Johns. Nice. I remember Matt Johns.
I remember the
Patrick Mahomes had 15 that year.
there were worked out for him. It was a super humid game. There were a ton of Husker fans there. You're right. Tommy in the fourth quarter, Nebraska's wearing the surrender whites. They make this comeback. That's the Alex Lewis game. Alec Lewis.
Oh yeah, when he was he started yelling bad words at everyone.
Yes, and then it's on Facebook immediately.
Oh yeah, that
then
was
he goes
good.
on Facebook.
That guy was a hoot.
His career went pretty quick here.
Yeah.
Like we don't really talk about him much.
Was that the one time Nebraska ever got a transfer from Colorado?
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever do that again.
You'd be surprised.
I would? What do you mean?
I don't know.
Who's going to transfer from Colorado to Nebraska?
Everybody's in the transfer portal in Colorado. That entire team, every single year, is in the transfer portal.
Guy can ball, he can ball.
I would not be. Didn't they?
Well, Alex Lewis could ball. He was good at football,
Did
but
they
he was
take
an
one
idiot.
of those linemen?
I thought they took somebody from. Or they were talking to somebody from Colorado at one point. They have 60 people enter the transfer portal every year.
Oh yeah, they
for
were trying to
Colorado.
get
Oh,
Dylan Edwards. Remember?
That
Yeah,
would've
the
been-
running back.
They were trying
that
to get
would've
Dylan
been a
Edwards.
great
Kansas
pickup.
State.
Yeah.
Oh.
Probably should have done that.
Kansas State in basketball and football just seems to get everybody. Just a lot of big names.
A lot of
Got
oil
Kansas
money.
State.
Adrian Martinez.
Well, I was more so thinking not Amart, but Coleman Hawkins was the first one that came to
Dear
mind.
God.
Art Kaluma.
Art Kaluma was another one that came to mind. They
He
just
played at many schools for many teams.
Haggerty from Memphis. He just transferred to Kansas State.
Coleman Hawkins.
What? Why are you shaking your? Coleman Hawkins was a pretty good college basketball player.
Coleman Hawkins was horrific.
No, he wasn't. He was consistently starting on good
Like,
Illinois
If,
teams.
if you pulled up Coleman Hawkins' stats, it'd be like, wow, these stats are pretty good. But then if you watched him play,
he
you're
was
like,
the
what
most-
is he
Yeah,
doing?
No.
What is he doing?
He was the most frustrating player to watch. I will give you that. But he still was playing pretty good. I just think of when I think of Kansas State, I think of Coleman Hawkins.
It's weird.
I'm a weird guy.
When you
man.
think of K-State, we just start naming schools. When you think of university,
Sure.
what are you thinking of?
okay,
Hey.
give me a school. Give me a school.
Houston.
Dana Holgerson.
All right. That's a good start.
Okay.
Let's go to San Jose State.
Tim Miles.
All right. Another Husker reference.
Okay.
All right. Let's see where we go from here. Let's go over to West Virginia.
Pat McAfee.
Dana Holgerson.
Oklahoma
Hey.
State.
Hold on, time out. Did you guys
Justin Blackman.
hold on? Did you guys see
Ooh.
the video of West Virginia yesterday in their new helmets?
No.
I saw they redid the blues or something like that.
Ooh.
Do
And
I
they
need
had,
to look?
they had Steve Slayton and Pat White.
Rich
Okay.
Rod is back.
Okay, do I need to look this
Yeah,
up? Okay,
it's
okay.
a really like that helmet looks awesome.
Okay. Interesting.
Like
Interesting.
West Virginia was one of those teams, like I like to watch a lot, but Nebraska was never going to play them,
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they
Lived
were
in
like,
different worlds.
oh, that offense with Pat White at quarterback and Steve Slayton, and then they had Owen Schmidt at fullback.
Noel Devine.
They had some dudes.
You're a sicko.
No,
You
no,
just-
hey,
you just
oh,
named
no,
a
those-
fullback
those
on
West
West Virginia. If
No,
Pitt
no, those
in
West
the
Virginia teams are
backyard
awesome.
I
brawl-
know, I know.
Yeah,
But I
in the
love how we
backyard
named the
brawl, if
fullback.
Pitt doesn't upset West Virginia, it wasn't because McAfee missed a field goal. West Virginia was going to play for the national title.
Matt, you probably know about this. The kids these days, they watch the highlight
The
tape.
Tavon Austin,
The
man.
Tavon
that's,
Austin
that's
highlight
like
tape.
that's
Yeah.
like
Former
the
Jet
number
Award
one.
They love watching
The
the
joke
Tavon
is
Austin.
the joke is that if you go to like your girlfriend's house and you press and you type in TA and the Austin highlights already come up, you're cooked.
Yeah, it's like
Is what they
a
say.
bit.
Are you looking at the
Yeah.
helmets?
I'm looking at the
They look
helmets.
pretty cool.
And there's an accompanying highlight video of when they wore the
Yeah.
helmets last time.
Hey,
If I was a Mountaineer fan, this would be crack cocaine.
These helmets are steezy.
I don't.
Steezy.
They're
Oh,
steezy.
welcome.
For sheezy.
Nice.
I learned that
steezy.
word yesterday.
Yeah.
They got the
Icky,
steez.
icky sty. Icky sty is what steezy means.
You're saying syllables.
What's
and-
icky
and I
style?
understand
Icky
that.
style. Icky sty is good style. So instead of saying you got good style, you go, man, Connor Happer, he's got icky style, man. That guy's steezy.
Now, what would
Now
you-
there's so many more syllables than just saying, "Oh, that's cool," or "Oh, that's dope."
I know that. I mean, we're not going for
So-
efficiency.
what kind of people are saying this?
My people. My people.
Latin
Do they
people?
get
Chicagoans?
do they get beat up when they say it?
I haven't gotten beaten up when I say icky sty or steezy.
Okay.
You know,
Like, but do you say
more
it-
so. This is more so hockey lingo. You know,
Do you
touch
say it
tango,
seriously?
top.
Oh, okay.
You know, top. You know, word I can't say on the radio. Bardowski.
Like when you
Where Mama hides the peanut butter.
when you say
go to
icky
the cookie jar,
sty
top.
to someone, are you serious? You're telling them that they have icky.
He goes,
sty?
my buddy will come up and goes, look at my new bubble. I go, oh, that's icky sty.
That's a real. That's real.
Yeah, that's real.
All right.
That's for shizzle.
And he did not beat you up.
No, he goes, no, dude, man, this is steezy. He goes, this is
Believe
ick.
you get your
He goes,
ass
"This is
kicked saying
ick."
something like that.
He goes, look at that rocket over there. I go, yeah, she's a tenor.
A tenor.
Yeah.
I could figure that one out.
Yeah. You can put two and two together.
Yeah. By the way, Damian Lillard is he has been
Unemployed.
waived. He's been
Whoa.
Well, they
whoa,
signed Miles Turner and they
Yeah.
waived Damian Lillard.
correct.
Whoa.
Correct. Damian
wait.
Lillard will have to rehab his Achilles on his own
that's-
time.
Whoa.
I didn't know
That
you
is
could do.
I didn't
that.
know you could do that
Yeah.
either.
That is so rude and mean.
Unless he asked for it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
imagine that he'd like to get paid. And,
on the insurance, yeah.
Mhm.
And like have professional NBA trainers take care of him.
Weird.
that seems kind of harsh.
Also, Darren Waller is ending his rap career,
Oh,
and he is coming out of retirement to play football
well,
for the Miami Dolphins.
Oh,
Jesus, my
They needed a tight end after their trade yesterday, and that's what they're getting.
That's right, Darren Waller. Have you seen his
and
cool rap
Kelsey
videos though?
Plum ex-husband, right?
yes,
That's right.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's
There
right.
was a song written. He wrote a song about their divorce, and that became incredibly famous.
Everybody does.
We get a comment here from Jacob Bigelow.
Hi,
It
Jacob.
says, Matt once told me that one of my outfits was steezy.
Yes.
Oh, congrats.
He was wearing this. What's the guy in Harry Met Sally? What's his name?
Billy Crystal.
Pecan Pie. Billy Crystal. That guy. He was wearing a Billy
Thanks,
Crystal.
Josh.
Yeah, he was wearing a Billy Crystal. type-
Harry.
Yes, Harry.
Yeah.
He was wearing a Billy Crystal type like turtleneck, like a mock turtleneck.
And that is steezy.
And I go, that's steezy.
So you saw Dylan Raiola in his turtleneck at the basketball game, and you were like,
No, I was like, yeah,
That's a
no. I saw him
tippy fi
wearing the
or what-
chain over the mock turtleneck. and
what was it? Tippy,
Semper Fi.
Fippy,
What?
what was the
What?
thing that you just said?
Icky sty.
Icky sty.
Fippy? Where did he get Fippy from?
I don't know. I just got the ippy part.
I think he was. I think that that outfit was foopy. That's what that was.
What's that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, some context clues there. Just kind of the way
Yeah.
you said it.
Yeah.
I could tell.
It was foopy.
I didn't know what it meant, but I knew it wasn't good.
It
Yeah,
was-
but when you say icky sty, I'm
Icky
thinking,
sty,
ew,
yeah.
gross, pu.
No, icky is like, oh man, that's sick. That's disgusting.
Yep, that's what
dirty.
icky means.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
icky.
should I teach my daughter this?
Yeah, for sure.
I point at the food that got
Papa,
thrown on the
Papa,
floor. Icky.
Icky sty.
She'll be like, wait, I thought that was
I'm
supposed
not.
to.
I
was
love a
supposed to
good
not eat
turtleneck.
that.
I just don't like when the chain goes over the turtleneck. Then I think it's kind of dorky. I just think you're trying too hard. You know.
It's such a weird line
So
with
you
you
want
guys.
the chain to go under the turtleneck? So
I
no
don't want
one
a
can
chain at
see
all.
it?
Just
Okay,
wear the
okay.
turtleneck. You don't have to look like The Rock in 1998. Okay, you can just wear a turtleneck. Turtlenecks are back in. Turtlenecks are making a comeback.
I know. I've seen our young baby boy Dylon everywhere he goes.
I know.
He goes many places.
He goes so well. Not the Manning quarterback passing camp.
Oh
Isn't
yeah,
he
what's
there?
up with that? Oh, why isn't he there? Oh,
Interesting.
He went
maybe
to,
because his coach is Patrick Mahomes' coach. He doesn't need the statue
I
to
don't
teach
know,
him
he
how to play
was-
quarterback.
he was in Michigan. He was at some lake.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not
Is he in the
practice.
Yoopers?
Huh?
Was he in the Yoopers?
I think he was in the Oopers.
Is he in Michiana?
I don't know.
Excellent. Maybe he'll show up at the Tigers game today or tonight.
So,
Check
like,
out
this
the best
outfit-
team in
interviewed?
baseball.
This outfit that you're
Yeah.
wearing, not icky style.
Oh
right?
No, you don't think
No.
so? You don't like my Port Jeff shirt?
No, this is very like
But do you get it though? It's Port Jeff. It says Port Jeff, but it's the Yingling
Hey,
logo.
hey, I don't know where Port Jeff is. Where is that?
Well,
Iowa?
how is that my fault?
Is that by Okoboji? Where is that at?
No, it is not by Okoboji. Try again.
Port Jefferson.
Port Jefferson what?
Probably in like the DC East Coast area. There's not too many ports.
DC, no. East Coast, yes.
Okay.
All
Am I Delaware? Delaware?
Further,
Vermont.
come back down.
Rhode Island.
Back down some more.
It's New Jersey then.
Little up and out.
Oh, New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
Long Island. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
They got ferries and stuff like that.
That was a roundabout way.
I'm glad you know your geography. Though.
I'm a very good geographer.
Good.
I don't know the weather in North Carolina in January. My apologies. Okay.
I did blow his mind the other day that you could draw a line straight south from Chicago, and you'd make Florida. Chicago is straight north of Florida.
Yeah, every once in a while, people get really bothered by the idea that there's a place in Oregon that is in the mountain time,
Yes.
and then there's a place in Florida that's in the central
They're
time.
separated by one time zone.
Separated by one, yeah.
That's
And
wild.
like every 2 weeks on TikTok, somebody realizes this again. And
Did
they're
you
like,
know?
"Wow!"
Did you know that Florida
But-
and Oregon are separated by one
the
time
part of
zone?
Exactly.
the part
exactly.
of Oregon that is in the mountain time zone is just like a little small
Just,
part.
Oh, yeah.
just a little slivy.
But yeah, if you
Just
look
a,
where
just a little
I'm looking.
tiny
if you
sliver.
look in the Panhandle, like Pensacola,
Wow.
go straight north. Part of Chicago is straight
Yeah.
north.
Wow.
Florida, the Panhandle of Florida is basically the Midwest.
No, it is not. It is not. It is the South. The Panhandle is the South.
I don't know, man.
I know for a fact.
It's wild.
Well,
down there.
okay,
You
so
sound like Cleveland people who are like, yeah, we're in the Midwest.
You know what else is the
They
Midwest?
are in the Midwest.
No.
You know what else is the Midwest? What I just mentioned, Long Island. It's basically the Midwest.
No, it's not.
It is. It is. Go out there and tell me it doesn't feel like the Midwest.
I have no interest in going to New York.
Okay, in
Wow.
Florida, the thing that blew me away.
You're a hater on that new mayor guy.
Yeah, I am. Oh, I'm a hater. No, I'm not. I'm a hater on New York. I'm
Okay.
a hater on New York.
All right.
Not on the mayor. No politics.
know
I
what?
don't do politics.
The mayor of New York doesn't affect me in Omaha, Nebraska.
Not at all.
I just, but there are some people who might be offended by that. I'm not in politics. I don't know what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
so this would blew me away in Florida. So when I moved to Florida, and you're driving down 95, and I'm coming from South Carolina, is once I hit the Florida-Georgia line to Fort Myers,
Great
I still
cruise.
had 5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, but I could go from my house on the Gulf side to where the Dolphins and the Marlins used to play. It would take me 2 hours, like just across the state. But going north, you drive forever.
It's it's vertically long.
Yeah.
We drove
But straight across the state, you can do it in about
We
2
drove
hours.
to the Keys, and we were very much in the lower part of Florida, and it still took us 2 hours to get there. No matter where you drive in Florida. it
Don't
takes
you
forever.
love the states? I do. I really love the
I
states.
am not well traveled. I've been to
But
Florida.
the thing about Florida is north of I-4 is basically southern Georgia. That's the rural part. South of I-4 is where it gets
Yeah.
a little bit hairy.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
go
no,
to
I-
either of them, by the way.
I just go to
Whoa.
I just go to the Marriotts in Marco Island. That's just
Of course you do.
well, that's where I'm taking. You know, it's just like they go, "Hey Matt, here's a cabana and here's a pina colada."
You
And I
got
go,
you
"I'll
got some
see ya."
time off. Where should we send you?
So I am going back home for a week.
Now,
Where's
where's
home
that?
again?
Guys, we don't have to do this. I understand that I say where I'm from a lot. It's a part of who I am. Okay,
Yeah.
we just skate right by it. I'm going home.
By the way, Tyler writes in, can't confirm at Connor Happer. Long Island is part of the Midwest. Went for a bachelor party, and it was exactly like Bennington. That's what
right.
I'm always telling people.
All right.
Don't always tell- Okay, so
He
where
probably looked out at the water and he said, "Reminds me of the lake in Bennington."
it's exactly the same thing. It's like Gretna. All right, where are you going?
So I'm going home.
Yep.
Just home. I'm just gonna do home. I think we'll go up to Lake Geneva in Wisconsin for a couple of days.
All right.
Just to hang out up there. That'll
Hell
be the vacay.
Are you? When's the next time you're going somewhere new?
So I am going to Tampa Bay, Florida.
Love Tampa.
In January. So after the football season's over, I have a cousin who lives in Tampa. He's got a place out there. So I'm just going to go out there and hang out with him. And I'm deeming it like my first actual vacation, my first like actual, I'm going to do things.
Without your parents.
Without my parents, without anything. I'm going to
That's
go
awesome.
like and explore, like go golf, do like, find out things to do in Tampa, whatever. I'm going to Tampa because I don't have to pay for a hotel. So I'm kind of like, cost and stuff like that, but it'll be fun. So that'll be my first big boy vacay.
Cool.
My oldest
There it
friend lives in Tampa.
I like Tampa.
Everybody,
nice area.
I had some
everybody I've
relatives
told
in
about
Tampa.
Tampa go that they like Tampa. So I've never, it's
Yeah.
like the
See,
one spot in
you-
Florida.
It's like
I
the
haven't been to.
Midwest.
Clearwater.
Is it like the Midwest?
No,
Is it like my hometown?
Okay, so I will. Tampa actually is closer to what you would see in the Midwest. Like Tampa
Okay.
and Miami are completely
It turns out
different.
everywhere is actually the Midwest.
We are just
Oh,
in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a conversation during the NBA Finals, and of course, this was on like First Take.
Of course, it wasn't about basketball.
Is Oklahoma City in the Midwest?
Yeah.
This is very similar to the cookie sandwich
Thank you,
conversation.
Connor. Thank you.
It's
Thank
very
you.
similar to the cookie sandwich
This
conversation.
is, I don't care.
Sure, I think it has a Midwest
you know,
feel
Which
to
is
it.
closer to being in the Midwest, Oklahoma or Ohio?
Oklahoma.
I think geographically they're outliers, right? But if you go to these places, it feels like the Midwest.
We should ask. Do you know
Oklahoma
who
City
should-
feels like the Midwest. Parts of Ohio feel like the Midwest.
Do you know who we should ask about if Oklahoma is the Midwest? People from Oklahoma. Okay, a bunch of people who have lived and been born
they're
and
too close
raised
to it.
on
Yeah.
the East Coast, and they're arguing about what the Midwest is. We should ask the Midwestern people if they're Midwestern.
You go to different cities, and you're just like, wow, this is basically Omaha. That's what I've come to discover. You know,
Hey, when you go to Indianapolis, I think the same thing.
it's just Omaha.
It's just Omaha. You go to Des Moines, it's just Omaha.
A little smaller and worse, but yeah.
Definitely worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa!
I haven't been anywhere
now.
where I'm like, this is just Omaha. But to be fair, I've barely been in Omaha.
That's
on.
true.
and I've been here for
Des Moines isn't bad.
No, not bad at all.
It's just the trip between Des Moines and Omaha,
Horrible.
and you're not going to have to worry about those wind turbines that are going to be all gone.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
We're bringing them
so
down.
wait, you can't take away
We're
the
getting
wind
rid of 'em.
turbines.
They're
That's your
ugly.
thing. Yeah,
They're
they are
ugly.
ugly. But it's
I got-
your thing of being ugly.
I
you
got a
know?
city for you that's not Omaha. Denver, not Omaha.
Well, I'm going there for a wedding.
There you go. That's a place.
I've been in that airport. I like that airport. I've run in Boulder before. I've run with the Buffaloes, the Colorado Buffaloes in particularly,
Uh-huh.
who are on the cross country team.
Mhm.
I rode.
Okay.
I ran with
Take
all
a
the
hike?
Buffaloes. No, I ran. It was a running camp. I went to a running camp in Boulder, Colorado.
A running camp.
Yeah, I was a
Wow,
runner.
that seems like child abuse.
No, I was a good cross country runner back in the day. I was a 2-time ESCC all conference cross country runner.
Whoa.
Hold this leg and it plays Jingle Bells.
And
Well, you want
where
to see my highlights?
what's the ESCC
the
stand for?
Eastern Suburban Catholic Conference?
Eastern what?
Eastern Suburban,
the East
We had a lot
suburbs.
of-
Suburban of what city?
Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is
Not
now.
a Skokie?
It has now been combined into the Chicago Catholic League, which is the league that Trey Taylor plays in, and Claude Puma.
Claude.
Claude.
Wow. I
First
can't believe
time
they got a Claude.
in, what did we figure out?
80 years.
80 years.
80
we have
years
a Claude.
since we've had a Claude. We had a Claude from Clyde, Kansas. Claude from Clyde. Meet Claude from Chicago.
You guys actually looked this up?
Yeah, we
I
did
was
research.
curious. Is this
You
the
don't
first
run
ever
across a lot
Claude?
of Claudes.
No, not
No,
at all.
I've never
No.
met a Claude in my entire life.
Desmond Claude.
Is that Dwayne Wade?
Yes.
He is gigantic
I know.
compared to Jenna Bush.
Oh, he's one of my favorite basketball players to like show my wife because he looks so tiny on a basketball
Yeah.
court. And then you get him in a situation like the Today Show,
He is a
and he's
giant.
a giant.
Well, he's a
giant
6'6", right?
Yeah,
Is he 6'6"?
I think.
Oh,
I think
he's
he's
6'5". He's
yeah.
6'5".
He looks gigantic.
He's got a basketball court in Oaklawn, Illinois, where he like around about to the areas and where he grew up, and it's a sick basketball court.
Where's that by?
It's in Richards. He went to
Sicky-
Richards High
Icky
School.
Now,
style.
where's that by?
Where's that by?
That's in the southern part of Chicago.
Ah, man. Remember when he played at Marquette?
You know where his wife's from?
She went to Iowa, right?
Wow.
Whoa,
Okay,
fired.
okay, hold on. Hold on. Kind of. A state that is close to Iowa.
It's in the Midwest.
It's in the Midwest.
Oklahoma?
Did she go to Nebraska or she's just a fan?
No, she went, didn't she?
You know what the Midwest is?
They have a
Young
picture
and
of her in the
restless.
student union. I hope she went to.
I don't know. I think she just but well,
or
I don't know.
is it the picture in the student union or Honest Abe's? It's either Honest Abe's or student union. I get
Why do
those
you get those two
confused.
confused?
They're right next to each other.
She went to UCLA.
That's right.
Okay.
She is not she's
hold on.
not a true Husker.
The Union and
Tomato,
Honest Abe's are
tomato,
right next to each
Tomato,
other.
tomato, potato, potato. I find myself stumbling into both those places the same amount.
What's the Union like nowadays?
Everybody freaked out about the Steak and Shake. The Steak and Shake was never open.
Is Imperial Palace still open?
Yes. Oh my God. And they're
Thank
still
God.
rocking and rolling.
I don't think
dude.
they'll
Pound
ever
chicken.
close that
God,
place.
it reminds
I
me
used
of
to eat so much curry pound chicken.
just you go in there and they're still writing stuff on the pen and the paper and the cash registers from like 1972. It's chef's kiss.
It's
over
awesome.
there. It's just it's acidy and it makes your stomach feel terrible afterwards, but your tongue is dancing in the sweet and sour sauce.
I mean, it looks so much nicer than when we were in school there. I mean,
It was
computer
it
lab.
looked worse. Oh, with the Union?
Yeah, but you know what they took
Oh,
away?
that place used to
Hey,
be
the Union is
dark
hot.
and cold
when
disaster.
you were there, did they still have the board where if you didn't have a car and you could post, hey, I'm looking to go home to Denver over Christmas,
Oh yeah,
and you could connect?
yeah. You like pull a tab
Yeah.
or whatever, and you call the number.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
like
that's
when
sick.
I was
They had
in
a big
school,
map of the United States, and like if you were looking,
To drive home.
yeah, you would put up, hey, I'm looking to go to, Milwaukee.
Sure.
So I was at the tail end of this, but my freshman year when we went to go, you get to school and you get your football tickets,
Yeah.
right? They give them to you. They give your entire season in an envelope,
Okay.
and if you wanted to get rid of a game, you sell it
Yeah.
on a
Right.
Facebook group.
Well,
Yeah.
That was how we did it.
that's
I don't know what the tickets are like now.
so that's what we do too. Facebook.
Really?
Facebook is like the place. So I had a buddy, mutual friend of ours, who was very good at selling those tickets. And so when we got to the point where we had like press passes and we were regularly going, and
Used them as a ticket broker.
I would give it because he had a clientele essentially on Facebook
That's
of
cool.
just people who would buy these tickets for way too much money.
Well-
but they didn't know, like they just kept buying them from him. So there was one time I gave him my tickets.
We had to validate them to resell them.
Yeah, I think there was a process that
Yeah.
you had to do
so
that too. Yeah,
we could.
it was so hard.
Like you could
though.
transfer them to one student to another, but if
Yes.
you wanted to sell them on the general public, you had to validate the student ticket.
So
Yeah.
we would. I don't know if you can put the student tickets
Yes, I remember
on for
that,
the
yeah.
general public. But we can transfer them within hours. So I can.
But then you
send
had
it
to physically take the tickets and
Yeah.
deliver them to a person.
That's
That's
Yes.
sick. That's awesome.
I don't know if it was.
I kind of wish
I would never.
Today I would hate it.
Yeah.
honestly, like I watch Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon, and when he gets real excited when he gets his season tickets and he's out on the sidewalk and he's dancing with no socks on, that's me. Like I wish I was that guy. I wish
Yeah.
I was Jimmy Fallon.
great call.
Thank you.
Because he was. They threw shade at the Royals in that scene.
They
though.
did. Oh, that's not Yankee dancing. That's Devil Ray dancing.
Exactly.
I need to see some
Because,
Yankee dancing.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
enjoy the Royals
Enjoy
in
the
September
Royals
or
game.
whatever it was. Sad. Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, there weren't any Cubs
How long did you
references
stay
in
up
that.
last night? 5-1, 6. You're like, I'm out.
I didn't watch it.
Didn't-
Wow.
Didn't watch what?
I didn't watch.
This is very concerning that you're not watching very many Royals games this year.
I don't think there's much to watch at the moment. Not much to watch.
Good
You had-
pitching.
You had HUD on the pregame show was smelling baseballs.
You have to.
I love HUD. I think HUD's awesome.
Stay positive.
He's like HUD is like the uncle at a barbecue that knows so much about baseball. You know, it's like, yeah, the kids. He's just got to get his hands through. That's a good look.
When they started telling stories about the Kingdom, where
Oh, really?
because they would show
I went to the
they would
Kingdom.
show where the Seahawks play. That is where the Kingdom was,
Mhm.
and HUD would just tell stories. You knew it was not going to get any better.
If you scored 2 runs on us, it's over. Congratulations, you've won.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll take it. I mean, hey, how about that team on the north side of Chicago?
North side of Chicago.
Have they won a series against a team over 500?
You know
Well, I
what?
knew that was
Whoa,
coming.
whoa.
We had a 500 month of June,
Yeah, we're at the top of
Oh
our
no,
division.
I'm not asking about.
but yeah,
They're
we're,
right.
we're
we
treading
haven't.
water a little bit.
It's been since
Okay.
April 22nd.
It's a long season.
All right.
Like, if they
we're
were
injured, we're hurt.
If
all
they
right?
were selecting teams based on strength of schedule for the college football playoff, like that style, they wouldn't pick that team. Probably.
well, we had a great strength of schedule to begin the year.
Yeah, we were better against a tougher schedule early.
That's
yeah.
right. They played in Japan.
We got too complacent. We played teams like the White Sox and the Royals and the Rockies too much. You know, I don't think we played. Did we play the Royals?
I don't think the Cubs and the Royals
Did
would
we
play.
talk about Frank the Tank yesterday and his video from the day before?
That guy loves yelling.
No.
I mean,
It might be one of the best.
Oh.
Like, and he has like many candidates. When they got swept by Pittsburgh,
I mean, it was bad.
he
I'm telling you,
lost it.
the New Jersey Devils videos
Watch out,
of him
remember.
are way better. Are way better when he's just screaming. When there is a dome,
I'm probably
And there's
over
an
him at this
echo?
point.
I've
He
been
could-
over him.
He could probably go away.
Probably, or it just sounds like that's pretty convicting.
It was funny at first. He burned those ribs. That was funny.
That's what I told Garrett. Garrett didn't know about the rib video.
And then
Garrett had no clue.
he doesn't have to lose his mind about the Mets every single.
But
day.
he's losing weight. He's on a weight loss journey. Are you against people who lose weight, Connor?
Well, look at me.
What do you mean? Look at you. You're in good shape.
Well, Do I look like I'm against losing weight?
I don't know, man. I'm not going to comment on your body. I
Thank
feel like
you.
that'd be a very rude thing. You're not Dylan Raiola.
Wow. All right.
You can't play. Can you play quarterback at that weight?
Oh no. If there was like a 230-pound quarterback,
I don't know if he can play quarterback at that height.
couldn't see over my tall line.
Doug Flutie could.
Good. Doug Flutie.
Screw that guy. 1986.
All right. See you guys later. Good
Thanks.
talk. Good talk.
Good talk.
That's the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha and everlevelconcrete.com. It's Tuesday. We'll start things off next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Happy July 1st. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Oh my gosh, did you know? Did you know it's Bobby Bonilla Day?
They're paying him $1.2 million to do nothing.
Did you also know, and listen up, okay? Not a lot of people know this. Did you know the Orioles are also paying Bobby Bonilla $500,000 every July 1st, but we don't laugh about it because they're not a mockable franchise like the New York Mets?
That's even becoming a thing now because every year somebody will put out an article and be like, here's all the teams that are paying Bobby Bonilla some money on July 1st every day. Or every single year. So he's been doing this for 20 years, and they will be doing it for another 10. So you're going to have to deal with this for another 10 bleeping years.
I can't deal with the Facebook memes.
10 more years of Bobby Bonilla Day. And can you imagine on that 11th year, the first day it isn't technically a Bobby Bonilla Day, people will start talking about how it's not Bobby Bonilla Day. And they'll lament that it was a tradition that they missed. And it's been happening ever since I was 10. And it has taken me through childhood and adulthood, and I got married, and I had a kid, and I got a job, and I quit the job, and I got a new job. I started a life, all while Bobby Bonilla every July 1st was getting paid $1.2 million to do nothing by the New York Mets.
Ken Griffey Jr. also has several of these contracts.
Many people have deferred contracts.
Yes. Shohei Ohtani will.
Admittedly, the Bobby Bonilla one is nice to talk about because it is a lot of money, and it's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
It's July 1st. That's the best thing he did. All right, so here, let's try and suss this out real quick.
All right.
What's a better deal for Bobby Bonilla? Actually getting the $1.2 million in his bank account every year, or the fact that people talk about him every single year on July 1st, all day long?
I mean, it's probably the money.
It's the money. You don't get anything from people talking about you, but he has stayed relevant in a dead sports time every single year. There's nothing ever happening on July 1st.
I like baseball a lot. I remember watching Bobby Bonilla play.
I remember Bobby Bonilla.
I cannot remember one thing he did other than sign this contract.
Exactly. So not only does he get the $1.2 million from the Mets every year, people talk about him all the time. But there's got to be a special corner in the Hall of Fame or something like that for him. It's like, this is something that people talk about every single year. We don't talk about baseball.
I would love.
We talk about how the Mariners or the Tigers are really good right now. They're like, Bobby Bonilla. Can you believe it? It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
What if there was a Hall of Fame at the bank section of the Hall of Fame? Like, hey, we understand this is a tough Hall of Fame to get into. These guys are legends at the bank.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, these are guys that maybe didn't have a Hall of Fame career, but they signed such an outrageous contract that you just have to know.
Shohei Ohtani. That's a good idea, actually. We could do that. We could come up with like a top five weirdest contracts.
Oh, wow.
Here's Shohei Ohtani. Generational player, incredible athlete. There is no limit to his value. And he says, I will take $4 million a year for several years, but you will have to pay me by the end of it, a grand total of what? $700 million or whatever it was. Excellent. And the Dodgers are like, sure. Sam writes in, great point. We've seen this. I've seen this with my own eyes. Circa Sports says they're gambling Hall of Fame. When you go into the big Circa sports book and the giant TVs and all that stuff, fantastic place. Would love to go down for mega NIL tournament again, by the way. Hit me up.
See that new statue they got out front of all the girls?
They have a statue?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. Continue. I'll look up the statue details.
But you walk in the little bowl area, and there's the giant, betting window, and then a bunch of kiosks and stuff like that. And then there's also the gambling Hall of Fame, which is just a small cutout of a semicircle cutout of a wall with several gold plates illuminated from behind. The Gambling Hall of Fame, and everybody in there is named Donnie. or something like that.
So is it just guys that hit it big a couple of times on like a slot?
I got to tell you,
like
I've
this guy placed a bet on UMBC to beat Virginia.
I got to tell you, I've gone in there. So I've been there 3 or 4 times, and I look at it every single time, and I go in the half circle, but I do not remember at all what is enshrined there. I have no idea.
Circa has a crazy girls statue.
Hello,
out front.
Crazy girls.
It's cheeky from all the stories on the internet.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's a little slice of the strip on Fremont Street.
Right.
You could check it out. Maybe even if you're there for the Mega NIL tournament, which, did you hear the news? Creighton has reported, leaked, and now I believe confirmed teams that they are playing in the Mega NIL tournament.
Teams?
Yes. Guess what?
Matchups?
You thought, oh, this is pretty cool. Creighton's going to play Iowa State in an exhibition game. That, from my knowledge, is still going to happen unless they just bang it, which they could, because they're going to play each other at the Mega NIL tournament now. And they're also going to play Baylor. Another matchup with Baylor. It can either be the best day ever or the worst day ever based on 2 out of the previous 3 matchups. Worst day ever, best day ever. Which one's it going to be? Who knows? We'll find out.
Hopefully good.
The Monday of Thanksgiving week. We'll talk.
And I've noticed a lot of those tip times are very advantageous for the Connor Happer show.
Just saying, Josh, if you can find a way, we go down there. John's got his stuff set up in the Tiny Baby Arena at the Mega NIL tournament. We do a little pregame show, got programming going right into it, and then we toss it over to John Bishop. And by tossing it over, I mean just put our headsets down and let John Bishop take one. Interesting idea, right? I could take it to the Gambling Hall of Fame. Maybe you could make it if you do enough good things.
It's been my dream to be enshrined in a Hall of Fame. If the cowards at Burke High won't do it, maybe the heroes at Circo will.
Yep. Johnny Mills in.
Hi, John.
Otani signed a $10 billion contract and only is being paid $25,000 a year. Wait until they start paying him his deferred money. I think that's a little exaggerated, but I think it's pretty close. Pretty close to that. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Today, Allan Bell is going to join us, speaking of gambling, at the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour, and a chat with President C. Did you hear the news? The Omaha Storm Chasers are playing a game on the 4th of July.
They usually do.
It's a great game every year. Many people show up, giant crowd, the whole thing, great fireworks show afterwards. And you usually are able, there's usually like an aerial photograph that comes out of it that is used on whatever media guide going forward. So you could be in it.
Photograph.
Exactly. That's what people will be saying. So President C, Martie Cordaro, will join us at 12:45 today. That's the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you all? 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Josh O at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Also today, 12:30, MLB Reaction Overreaction. Fun.
Very fun.
We love baseball.
Love making those riders work.
And then we have the following things. It is July 1st. So a couple things based on it being July 1st. Number one, I forgot to welcome you all to the revenue sharing era of college athletics, unless you're Omaha, of course.
Yes.
They'll probably do it next year.
They'll get there.
They'll get there. We can talk about that, by the way, as well, because I thought Adrian was really good on the morning show yesterday, and he gave some context to it. So we could talk about that today as well. Also, I love bringing this up every time because it just continues to get worse and worse and worse. 14 years ago today, Nebraska officially joined the Big Ten Conference, and nothing was ever the same.
Our lives were made better.
I listed off some statistics since that day that we'll explain a little bit later on the show.
Okay.
This is football only stuff.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Pettiti goes on Joel Klatt's podcast. We'll recap that.
I'm glad you listened to it so I don't have to.
I did. I didn't really get much from it, but we'll talk about it. Cryptic Matt Rhule tweet.
Yeah, what's up with that?
This is the thing everybody's talking about today.
We're going to the Vegas Bowl. Another opportunity to go to Vegas.
Vegas?
Yes. And there is a football game this month. Who you got? Lions Chargers Hall of Fame game.
Better start breaking it down.
Who you got? Who you got?
Lions.
Bold. You're supposed to say the under.
Oh.
Because that's the game where they set the
Yeah.
under at like 12 and it still hits every single year. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back with more The Connor Happer Show next on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right. So 14 years, Nebraska joined the Big Ten Conference 14 years ago. It was a fateful day, July 1st, 2011. Fun fact. At the time, I was an incoming student at the University of Nebraska. I had done I had served my time playing junior college baseball and decided that I was done. So I was going to start my collegiate career over at Nebraska. On July 1st, 2011 was my new student enrollment day. And they made a big announcement and they had all the Big Ten logos and stuff. And they were like, you are part of the first ever new student enrollment as members of the Big Ten Conference. And I thought, wow, this is historic.
You're the first student of the Big Ten.
I am a student of the Big Ten. The Big Ten, I was born with the Big Ten, basically.
You merely adapted to it.
It's still crazy to think about. As Jake writes in, we have to go back. We will not surrender the Big 12 to Colorado and Kansas State. And then I get a text here from the 402.
402.
Do you guys remember the Sports Illustrated cover that had the Huskers on it and it said the new bullies of the Big Ten or something like that? Do I ever?
Oh, you got it.
If you're watching along with us on YouTube right now, it is still prominently displayed in many bathrooms across the state of Nebraska. That's right. It is, who's that? Landry Jones, Jared Crick, and Andrew Luck. And in the middle is Jared Crick. He's looking very angry.
He does.
And it says, Nebraska, the Big Ten's new bully. Sports Illustrated has made many predictions over the years.
Remember when they said the Astros would win the World Series?
Yeah, that was like 4 years before they actually did what when they put that out, like 2012, they were like, your 2017 world champion Astros. And then they did.
Mm-hmm.
They won it. Congratulations to them. They got this one wrong.
Yeah.
They screwed this one up bad. In fact, Nebraska has been nonstop bullied ever since they joined the Big Ten. Jeff writes in on the text line, oh no, disaster. Yeah. Oh no, disaster is right. We gotta get a little oh no disaster going on right now, Josh. There it is.
Oh no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
Yeah. Joining the Big Ten. What a bad idea. All right, so here's some of the stats. Ready?
All right. I think so, but you're going to hurt my feelings, I bet.
If I told you that Nebraska's record in regular season conference games since 2011, since they joined in 2011, like what would you guess? Because remember, they weren't horrible for the entire time, but I will tell you that there is now more bad than good.
I would say
I'll tell you how many games.
Okay.
120 games. 120 games over what, 13 football seasons?
I'll go 50 and
yeah, good
55,
guess.
55 and 65.
Very good guess. 53 and 67. So you overshot it a little bit. 53 and 67. But here's where it gets rough. I was thinking about this all last night. They have been to one conference title game. People forget.
I don't.
They got absolutely stomped in that game.
Yeah.
It was not good. They were supposed to win, and they got pooped on. They have been ranked. I looked this up, too. How many weeks? I don't know what the grand total of weeks have been, but we're talking about college football AP poll weeks. So you have preseason every week throughout the season and then postseason. So it's basically like 15 possible AP polls every year. How many weeks do you think Nebraska has been ranked since the start of the 2017 season?
15.
4.
Oh!
4. And 2 of them were last year. 4.
Whoa.
4 weeks ranked. 4 weeks ranked, Josh. 4 weeks ranked.
Oh, wow.
I have to find the total number of AP polls that there's been since then. So we're talking about 8 full seasons have happened since then. They've been ranked a grand total of 4 times. There was 2019 preseason and then like week 1, and then they lost to Colorado and then it was over. And then last year when they started whatever it was, 4-0, 3-0, they were ranked for that Illinois game. And then it was basically over yet again. They are 4-10 against Iowa.
Okay.
They are 2-11 against Wisconsin.
One of those was last year?
One of those was last year. And the other one was actually completely erased off the face of the earth because it was in 2012. and they ended up getting blown away into the Big Ten championship game. Nebraska has won a grand total of 3 bowl games over their 14 seasons as a member of the Big Ten Conference. So you tell me, straw poll out there to everybody, is that good?
Well,
think about it. Think about it.
It is
marinate a little
good,
bit. Think about it. Think about it.
but it is not good.
No, Josh, it's not good. When is it going to be good again, though? When's it going to be good?
Maybe in 57 days.
You think so?
Maybe it'll be good then. Made a lot of friends along the way.
I think the thing that when I was pulling these things up last night, like I said, the thing that struck me the most, and it should resonate with people, is that there is now. I guess I don't know what the way that people think about this, but there is now more bad than good, and the bad's been really bad for Nebraska. Nebraska's had multiple seasons. I think out of those 14 years, I believe there was 6 of them that had 6 losses or more in conference. Or no, there was 6 of them that had exactly 6 losses in conference. Like they've gone 3-6 an inordinate amount of times over the years. And then there was one, of course, in 2021 where they went 1-8 in the league. And remember, when they joined, I wouldn't say that Nebraska was at the top of their game, but they were pretty routinely in the top 25, in the top 20, in the top 15, like playing important games later in the season. And that hung around all the way through the Bo era. And basically ever since 2015, you guys know this, we're coming up on 10 years now since Nebraska's been really relevant at all. Not to be a huge downer today, but I don't know. I think about this. I think about this on July 1st every year and how bad of a football move it has been. Just how bad of a football move it has been.
But think of the money, Connor.
That's all. That's the only saving grace out of all this. Nebraska has a seat at the table that their play over the last decade has not does not warrant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. And so you always want the ability to be able to do things. You always want the opportunity to do things. And the fact that Nebraska is in the position that it's in, it has afforded itself the opportunity to be in a good position. But that's possibly even more frustrating because other teams do it with less, fanfare, first of all. Second of all, resources and talent and stuff like that. It's crazy to think about what Nebraska has not done since they've been a member of the Big 12, but since they've been a member of the Big 10. Matt writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox, Big 10 versus Big 12 revenue share. Would Nebraska have made more money off of branding and sales to make up for this difference of revenue sharing if they had stayed in the Big 12 and won championships while they were there? Boy, I don't know.
Seems unlikely.
We are all fans of Nebraska, right? And so them moving conferences doesn't affect your connection to the team necessarily. Now, we've talked about what it means over the years and how teams don't view you the same way and you don't view the opponents the same way. And I think there is a long-term causal effect, obviously, to that. But knowing how it's all played out and not saying what it's going to be like going forward, but knowing how it's all played out and how it looks right now and the circumstances that Nebraska is in, the wins are the only thing that's important to me. And I don't think it's the fact that Nebraska is not in the Big 10 or not in the Big 12, the fact that they don't have wins, but it's certainly an interesting coincidence, right? Is there an argument to be made that none of this stuff happens, that we don't fall into this endless pit of despair if Nebraska stays in the Big 12? And I know people will come back with like, oh, they had to go and all that stuff. But just let's play along here for a second. What if they do stay? And what if we never had to experience this? I mean, think about that. Is that possible? Or do they still make the same mistakes that they made? Does Bo have the ability to, without that move to the Big Ten, that was a wrench thrown at him that he obviously did not successfully handle very well. So does he get things back on course and they find a way to get over the hump in the big games and they, end up winning near 6 games and make the playoff or whatever it might be? Because all that comes up, of course, after Nebraska's in the Big Ten Conference and after they have already fallen into this hopeless and endless pit of despair and darkness, as we've talked about. I don't know. It's an alternate world, but like I care about the winning. I want the team to win. I don't care about the money. Your facilities are great. Your ability to sell Nebraska as a program because of the facilities and because the way you treat your student athletes is fantastic and is an advantage for you as it pertains to recruiting. But if you never have it and you're trying to fight to get there or whatever it is, and you're a member of the Big 12 and you're like the upstanding member, the brand school of the Big 12 conference, especially now that Texas and Oklahoma have left.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a world that I am very interested in. And it certainly makes life a lot better for me as a fan, to be honest with you. I would like, I don't know. I'm on record as saying this. I hate the Big Ten. I do. It's corporate. It's bland.
It's very bland.
It's a bland conference. I don't even know what they're all about. Snootiness. 14 years of snootiness. And it doesn't fit Nebraska. Nebraska has always been a or maybe it views itself this way as like a sort of lone wolf maverick, I think, type of program, right? Not necessarily an all for one for all. We will not program. I'm talking about athletic department or school brand, right? That type of thing. Not necessarily until they joined the Big Ten. And then all of a sudden you had to become kind of like everybody else. Remember the whole COVID thing? Hey man, you better get in line. I don't want to hear all about this stuff about you going back to the Big 12. We'll kick your ass out. Don't mess with this. The Big Ten brand is the biggest, most important brand. That's not how other conferences operate. That's not how the Big 12 operated while Nebraska was in it. It was like everybody was kind of fighting for themselves, and Nebraska had a built-in advantage because of the success that they had compared to their peers for a long, long time. And that's something that Nebraska gave up. I'm sure that was all thought about at the time. Of course it was. And Nebraska let that all go for money and a seat at the table. I'm sorry, I probably do this segment every single year on this day, but it happened again.
I'm just sitting here thinking from a competitive standpoint, I would be interested to see what Nebraska would be like in the Big 12.
In this current iteration of the Big 12?
Yeah. They would have more clout than they do now.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten. I'd be interested
to see it. It's hard to know because we don't know how things go.
Right.
If they never do. We don't know what it looks like.
Obviously, you
Nebraska
players.
Nebraska set off a long line of conference realignment. Yeah. People track all this round of conference realignment back to Texas and Oklahoma moving for the SEC a couple years ago. Yeah, but like we want to go back to the original thing. I mean, Nebraska moving to the Big Ten at the time not only was a huge story for Nebraska, but it was like, whoa, teams can move conferences? Mm-hmm. This is weird. What's this going to look like? And then it just kept happening. Missouri and Texas A&M were not that far, but they were a year later, right? And then there was that whole, domino effect that came after that.
Remember when Texas was going to go to the Pac-12?
Yeah. Yep.
Now look at the Pac-12. They got Texas State.
That's right. At least they have San Marcos. From the text line, here's Doc.
What's up, Doc?
That question comes from a short-sighted... actually, no. Let me go back a text here. It was a bad football move because every single time they hired a new coach, they expect the exact opposite and change the system completely so Nebraska could never be consistent. Still the same way today. That question comes from a short-sighted Nebraska fan that clearly just looks in the Nebraska bubble, would never leave. Nebraska is not that huge of a brand nationwide to where it could sustain itself, yet some fans believe this because they can't get out of the bubble. Oh, to the question of like, if Nebraska was still in the Big 12, could they, you know, would they be able to sustain that kind of on their? I can't remember who asked that earlier or where that came in, but I don't know, man. Like, if you win and you continue on the train of winning, then why do I care how big your brand is? Like, don't you think there's a bunch of schools in the Big 12 right now who, yeah, they're not at the big boy table, and yeah, they're going to fight for scraps as it pertains to the college football playoff because the SEC and the Big 10 run the stupid thing. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you can win and be happy, right? It's winning and being happy versus, like, I oftentimes look at those Big 12 and ACC schools and I think, boy, it must be nice, you know? The competition's not quite as heavy. It's great, but you still have you have a little bit. Some teams, some conferences do, some don't. Like the ACC still has most of its regional kind of aspects and stuff like that. Like, it's largely been unchanged. I think when they have to go recruit against, SEC schools, it's really difficult for them, but you can win. I mean, Clemson won a lot.
If SMU had won the 4 games they needed to, or if Boise State had won the 3 games they needed to in the college football playoff last year, they don't care that, a small brand won the college football playoff. They don't care. I don't care how big a brand is. We just won the national championship.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We won all the games we can win.
You can be happy.
Yeah.
Without, like, we have made this whole seat at the table thing out to be, in my opinion, way bigger of a thing than, from a fan perspective, than I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, you can be happy and win football games and not have a seat at the table.
Like, yeah,
not have a quote unquote seat at the table. Like, there's this whole Big 10 SEC like elitist thing, and it has emboldened, frankly, programs like Nebraska and fans like Nebraska's fan base to be like, hey, look, man, we're fine. We're chilling. We got a seat at the table. You can't talk to me. I live in the ivory tower. At the same time, they don't win enough games on the football field and their fan base isn't happy, and and it's really, really hard to get to the top because everybody is so competitive in the league. And yes, that's the most competitive, area of the game of college football. It's the hardest place to win, and you want to challenge yourself against the best. But I don't think those Big 12 and ACC schools are thinking like when they win the ACC every year, or when whoever wins the Big 12 every year, are they thinking, I guess that was nice to win it, but I feel like we won the NIT. No, they won.
Yeah.
They won the stupid thing.
Yogurt Man should care that Nebraska has a seat at the table. I don't need to.
Right. Absolutely. It's the money versus the fandom type of thing.
Good comment here from Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
On the YouTube stream. Nebraska should be thanking every other Big 10 team for pulling the weight the past 15 years. Actually compete, and Nebraska fans might enjoy the Big 10 more.
There's no doubt about that. If I haven't
100%.
mentioned that yet, that is absolutely true. Like, all this stuff is not a conversation if they had just kept winning.
The second Nebraska pops one of these games off against Michigan or Ohio State, we're going to be like, yeah, we run this conference.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, remember this. I feel like Nebraska, like if and when that happens, which maybe it'll be this, maybe we'll see the start to that this year.
Connor Happer predicts a win over Michigan.
Big time program. You're beating big time programs, and you're competing for conference championships and competing for playoff spots and stuff like that. You have to see it happen over a consistent period of time. But what if it starts happening this year? Like, I think the Nebraska fan is programmed. Their DNA is not to be like, wow, finally we are like the rest of these cool Big Ten programs. It's no, we want to be our own thing, and we want to do it our own way, and we want to be, better or whatever it is. I think the Big Ten's DNA and schools that have been in this conference for a long time is to sort of be like, yes, as long if we can be good, then I'm very glad that we can help make the rest of our conference look good, and stuff
Definitely.
like that. I think Nebraska is a little bit more programmed the other way. That's why I had never seen this fan base be so together. There was a couple instances, actually. It was during the Frost era. So this is basically post 2016, as we were just talking about. Over this period of time, Nebraska has been ranked a grand total of 4 weeks in the AP poll, right? That stat that we just mentioned. I'd never seen this fan base so unified on one thing in a very, very long time around here. And it was that it was when the COVID thing happened, and they were like, and Nebraska said, and Scott Frost said, we want to play games, and we're going to explore every avenue to play football games. I loved when that happened. It emboldened me. I was like, yes, go get them. Why do we have to just turn it in like everybody else? And then guess what happened? Like Ohio State was like, yeah, what are you trying to do to us here? Why do we have to fall in line with everybody else? Yeah. I think Nebraska's always, I felt like that was in Nebraska's DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that was a really, it was a bonding moment almost for Nebraska fans. It's like, yeah, I remember what it was like I remember what it's like to fight for Nebraska again. That was cool. Just lose a little bit of that. And yes, like we've mentioned, winning helps.
Sith Destroyer perhaps pointing out an inconsistency in our arguments.
Okay.
I'm confused. Are we now complaining about playing in a conference with competition after flaming Rhule earlier in the year for the whole Tennessee thing?
No.
What are we talking about?
That's not why I'm mad about being in the Big Ten.
Okay.
I hopefully I made that clear. I do think it is more difficult on this journey back to do it in this league than it would have been in a lesser league or in a perceived lesser league like the ACC or the Big 12. But that's not what that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, we just the lack of character, the lack of personality in the league.
Huh. And yes, of course, the lack of winning. That has impacted some things.
Need some dubs.
A couple texts here. Here's Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Fans have suffered the most for the move to the Big Ten. The opponents. Does anyone get excited about playing Illinois or Indiana? And the travel? Your closest away game is 6 hours in Iowa when you have 3 or 4 opponents with less than that than K-State, Kansas, and Iowa State and Missouri. Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, I felt like that was important to people. No doubt about it. Pedro writes in.
Hi, Pedro.
Hi, guys. Would you rather play Iowa or Iowa State, Oklahoma State or Ohio State, Kansas or Michigan? I think the Big Ten was a good move. Nebraska just peed their pants hiring and firing coaches. I think you could make that argument too.
Definitely. I probably, in fact, would make that argument.
But
that was the biggest problem.
But there's no way to know the effect that it really had. Right?
You're never going to know
because
which
we're now looking at it
problem.
over a 14-year period. It's devolved to this point. I cannot definitively tell you that had Nebraska stayed in the Big 12 and had all the advantages that it used to have and never felt that speed bump in the road from moving to the conference that Bo had to endure in his later years starting in 2011. But I can't tell you with any great amount of certainty that Nebraska would have just kept the train rolling and won 10 games every year and be in competition for college football playoff spots. I don't know. But I do feel like it would have been more likely if they never hit that speed bump of joining the Big Ten Conference and they never had to adjust to that. And then we're going on this long, winding road of hiring and firing coaches. And what are you? And where's your place in the conference? And do you need to hire a coach that has Big Ten ties? Do you need to hire a coach that has Nebraska ties? What does it take to win the Big Ten? All this stuff. Like the money helps you do that as well, but your ability to hire and fire coaches has oftentimes been an issue for Nebraska because they have the ability to do so. Oh, we have this cool red button. Let's hit it. Pop. But once again, those coaches have written their own stories. I don't think Nebraska pulled the trigger too early on any of them, to be honest with you.
No. They were given time.
Those coaches wrote their own stories. That's for sure. So it's hard to know. And that's why it's a fun radio topic.
Thought exercise.
Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
Time to start a new dynasty with resetting the conferences back to the good old days. That's right. That's exactly what I did last year. I put Nebraska back in the Big 12 North, and it was awesome. I played Colorado last game every single year. It was great.
There is sort of the fun. Well, is it because of nostalgia or because it was easier that we long for that time?
Good question. It's probably nostalgia.
It's about the right number of years for it to like hit the sweet spot of nostalgia, right?
Is 14 the right amount of years to hit the sweet spot of nostalgia?
Poll question.
All right. We'll be back. Allan Bell will join us on the other side here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Allan Bell, the AB3 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Okay. Look at that. On the local news, we got the muggy meter that is rapidly rising throughout the week as well. That's right. It's summertime, and it's definitely hot and humid, although it's relatively pleasant today. Let's check in on Nashville with Allan Bell, driving the line. AB, hello. How are you?
Hello, kind sir. I'm doing fantastic. Let me say it is somewhat muggy here, but I have seen the weather, and it is much, much more muggy out your way.
Let's check before we. I always like to check in and see what's going on in the fan base down there for the Tennessee Volunteers. So I've caught wind of some of this over the last week or so, where the Tennessee baseball fans. It seems to have progressed to just like rage baiting on Twitter to LSU fans. You know, the Tennessee fans like to talk about how in baseball they're like the program. LSU just won a state national championship. They're claiming that they are the program. I've seen some of this cross my timeline, and I got to admit it's been very funny to watch.
Oh, it's hilarious. Look, Tennessee fans are a gift from the Lord. All right, when you're having a bad day, just pull up Twitter. You'll see somebody that's just going out of control. I don't know what they're talking about with LSU fans. LSU just won its 8th title, its second in 3 years.
Pretty good.
Right? Like, Tennessee's won 1. Let's calm down. Let's relax.
I know. But then, so I think they realize that they lost. They're losing that argument every single time. And so then they just like, they just keep saying the more outlandish stuff. And it turns out what happens is, the LSU fans are easily like baited by these things, and they get them to yell at them, and it's all part of the plan. It's a really good move if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell it's a productive day here in the state of Tennessee. We're really getting some things done.
Sure is. Exactly. What else? What do you got going on right now? I was scrolling through the podcast just a little bit ago. I see you're working on some NFL futures and stuff like that already. I mean, do you get there? There is a football game this month, and I assume that this is just put you in a completely new stratosphere as we enter the summer here.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get fired up for it, right? We got to get ready because you're right. It is coming, both the NFL and college. But I'll tell you this, what I'm excited about next week. Have you seen the women's professional softball league that's starting up?
No, I have not. What's going on here?
Check this out. Like, it's like every star player that has been in like women's college World Series, they're all in this league, right? Because there's really nowhere to go besides the Olympics, So anyways, long story short, I don't know if anybody's ever bet softball before. It is awesome. It is the most perfect sport to bet. If you're a degenerate and looking for something in the summer, I'm telling you, check it out. Softball,
so exactly, things change very fast because the ballpark is quite small, and it feels like anything can happen. It's almost like the Little League World Series. It feels like at times.
Yeah.
I saw a highlight clip last night from the Little League World Series for some reason where they were just like flicking the bat out there and hitting it over the 190-foot wall in center field. That basically feels like what softball is sometimes.
Yes, it does. Also, you know what I also love? Like when you look at like coverage of the Little League World Series compared to like Sunday night NFL or something. Like I love the dress code. Like Little League World Series, Carl Ravitch, Hawaiian shirt. Go ahead and lock that bet in. NFL suits, crisp, everything.
Yep.
It always cracks me up seeing like the coverage of how there's a dress code for every sport.
It's a little bit different, that's for sure. Yeah. When they come to Omaha for the College World Series, it's polos. They do wear pants, which is nice, but it's a little bit more of a relaxed, loose atmosphere when they come to Omaha too.
As they should. That's baseball. You know what I mean? I'm with it. Like even if they wore hats in the booth, I wouldn't mind it at all.
There's some hats. Yeah, you could see some hats in the ESPN broadcast booth. Certainly on the Westwood One broadcast, that's for sure. So let's do some NFL stuff then. The team that has been in the news most as of late for a variety of different reasons is the Pittsburgh Steelers, but yet they still find themselves as firmly the third best odds to win their division. I guess the question is, Allan, what do all these moves that they've made, getting Jalen Ramsey, getting Aaron Rodgers, we'll see what happens with the whole TJ Watt thing as well. It's kind of boiling under the surface right now. What does this ultimately all mean for Pittsburgh if they're just going to probably end up finishing third in their division anyway? Like, is this a move to go from, is this enough to go from 500, almost contending team to in the playoff picture and really contending?
Kids, this goes to show you, always have a plan, all right? Because the Steelers, ever since Big Ben left, they've been looking for a quarterback. Now, Aaron Rodgers, he's a better option than what they had last year. And I'm not denigrating what they did. I thought the Steelers did a fine job with what they had. Rodgers played decent last year, man. Like, I think that they could be okay, but you're right. Like, number one, the Ravens are arguably the best regular season team every single year. And number two, the Bengals, they have no defense, but they're going to put up 50 on you. I really don't know, because the Steelers just seem stuck in just kind of no man's land. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. Like, you have to either do enough to really get yourself over the hump. I mean, you want to, ideally, obviously, you want to be competing with the Ravens, and I don't know, we'll see what the Bengals are this year as well. Maybe they're leaning on that a little bit, but ideally you want to put yourself in a position where you feel like you could be better than the Ravens if you're really going for it. But I don't know what they've done. I don't know how you could think what they've done would put them in a position to do that at this moment. It just feels like an okay upgrade at most.
Agreed. And it's got to drive Steelers fans crazy too, right? Because, I mean, that's a proud franchise. And for the last 10 years, they haven't done any losing, but they haven't done any winning either. Man.
Right.
It's just like, it's almost like we look at it in college football when you're like, for like Penn State forever with James Franklin. It was like, all right, you're just good enough to not get there. What do? And now obviously it was a playoff, but yeah, man, like Steelers fans got to be in a tough spot. I don't know much longer Mike Tomlin coaches the Steelers. And I'm not saying they fire him. I'm not saying anything bad. But they've just been together for a long time, man. It generally doesn't last like that.
I will say this too. They are doing some very, they're usually pretty quiet in the offseason. They're doing some very un-Steelers-like things. That's the other thing that kind of makes you wonder about Tomlin a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's odd. And all of this, it just doesn't feel like Mike Tomlin at all. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
It feels like the front office trying to find its feet too.
I see that you're on, not to give this away from the pod too much, but people should listen to it. I see that we're on some of the worst teams in the NFL this year and banking on them being the worst teams in the NFL. Are we rolling the dice on the New Orleans Saints already, pegging them as the worst team in the league?
We are. Because, all right, let's think about it. Who are the teams that would be in that running? I think of four: the Browns, the Titans, the Giants, and the Saints.
Okay.
And I just don't know where the Saints go. Like, I don't know if their defense is going to be there. I don't know what the offense is going to look like. It's going to be a new quarterback. He's got a new coach. Like, I think the Browns will be all right. Like, I'm not saying they're going to be great. And I think the Titans will be all right, just from that division. I don't trust the Saints at all. Plus 425 to be the worst team in the league. Yeah, I'm with that.
Their total is an astronomically low 3.5 wins right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. And the juice is they're minus 300 for the under. Minus 300 for 3 wins or less for the Saints. That is absurd.
Dude, just bet them to be the worst team in the league and get it at plus 425.
Right, exactly. That is that's your angle right there. Is there? Yeah. I saw you were putting together some playoff stuff too. We don't have to dive into it, all of it yet, but is there anything else on the NFL level that you're looking at right now and thinking this is the time to get in on this action?
Yeah. So, I'll say this, man, and it's on a team. I think the Chargers are going to be a really good football team. Jim Harbaugh teams always get better that second year after they progress up. And look, here's the other thing too. You know how he's been killing it in the draft? Well, here's why. Because he recruited all these kids since they were in high school. He's seen them, man. Like, that's the advantage of having a college coach come up that knows what he's doing. I think the Chargers are going to be a sneaky good team. Now, are they unseating the Chiefs? I'm not saying that. But Chargers to make the playoffs, make a little run, I think that's going to be your team where you can make money because they're all healthy.
Allan, every year, though, more and more people get on they start to just maneuver themselves over. Maybe they do it quietly, but they start to maneuver themselves over to this is the year that it finally happens and the Chiefs don't do it, train. They go very slowly and they go very quietly. And so we'll see how much of that there is this summer.
Like, that's the thing. Has everyone not learned that the Chiefs just get better as the season goes along? Like, right. That's the problem, man.
I'm with you. We talked about it plenty last year. They for what they weren't last year, the amount of games that they were able to win and what they were able to do was probably the most impressive part.
We'll never see anything like that. Yeah, you're right.
All right, AB. As always, appreciate it. Keep doing great stuff, as always, and we'll check it again next week.
Appreciate you, my friend. Have a good one, buddy.
Allan Bell, Driving the Line. Check him out there. He's got NFL stuff coming up hot and heavy. There's a football game this month. Football.
Technically.
There is. It's a game. It'll be played.
Yes.
I saw so you see football highlights all the time that just come up. There's the Lamar Jackson highlights are going crazy right now on TikTok. Many people are doing Lamar Jackson edits, which is great and everything.
Sure.
But I hadn't seen a clip from like the broadcast view of an actual, just a random play from a football game, not a highlight or anything like that. Just like a play, right? Basically, I don't know what this person was looking for, but it was just a clip of a play from a game with no odd camera angles and no changes. It was just like from a broadcast of a game. And I thought, whoa, that's what that looks like. I forgot about that.
That's what football looks like.
I forgot about that. That was kind of cool. I kind of liked it. I didn't like how it made me feel because I like summer and it doesn't need to be here yet, but it gave me a little bit of the itch.
Interesting. Maybe I need to do that.
Also, yeah, just pull up a game on YouTube, just a full game on YouTube and click random somewhere in there and just think, whoa, that was a football. That was a football play.
That was a football play.
Also, we must not forget about what the Chiefs did last year. Many people moving quietly over to the Chiefs are overrated train and stuff like that. And
Did you see the Super Bowl?
This is the year that the Chiefs aren't going to do it. They got blasted away in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Once again, what they did, where I'm at, is what they did last year for everything they weren't was more impressive than what they had previously done when they had the firepower and the weapons to actually compete. So they have cracked the code. They have figured out how to win football games.
Bills-Ravens was the grunt of the century, and neither of those teams made the Super Bowl.
We love Flash, but this league is about the margins. It's about doing the little things, and it's about how good you are in the tight moments. And the Chiefs have mastered it. I'm sorry. It's got to feel horrible if you're, say, like a Denver Broncos fan or something like that.
Pain.
Imagine how horrible you feel just on a daily basis.
Yeah. Waking up and knowing that you're owned in a unique way.
It's odd. All right, we'll be back. Odd news coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Great comment from donator of Big Cooler, Alex Sindelar.
Go Bonkos.
Go Bonkos is a pretty good one. But I want to go to the comment above that from him.
Oh.
Has anyone else in the chat developed a Pavlovian response to the odd news and get really hungry? Or is that just me? Hard for me to tell. I can't eat lunch at this time, and I don't eat lunch at this time. Although, if I did bring Uncrustables, this is about the time I'd pop one of those suckers open. And I'm just generally always hungry during this show. But I would assume that, there's a lot of people who are getting in their car for lunch during this segment.
That's right. Maybe they're driving over to that place on 16th that has like a 1 pound deli sandwich today.
Do they really?
Yeah, it looked good.
It's not a lobster roll of some sort?
No, it's not. Not a lobster roll stuffed into a waffle cone, stuffed into a burrito.
Yeah. They could do it. They have done it probably before.
And will again.
All right. The odd news, Josh. What do we got?
This was sent to me by an emailer, and I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't have it in front of me. I don't have their name in front of me.
All right.
I would like to thank them, but
How
this
dare
is
you?
user submitted. Why hop on a dating app simply with the hopes of finding Mr. Right or Mr. Right now? You could get people to act like complete idiots in front of you, which is what a woman on TikTok has shared. She shares that all of her Hinge matches, she makes them perform before agreeing to go on a date with her. What does she have them perform, Josh? Great question.
She
I'll
make
tell
them
you.
bark or something?
Close, actually.
Yeah.
She makes them do the Tim Allen grunt from the show.
Oh my
Home
God.
Improvement.
Oh my God. That's awesome. I take everything back that I was about to say. Now, when I ask you to do it, I guess I never outwardly ask you to do it, Josh. But if I did, would that be the type of thing? Would you be embarrassed?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. If you asked me to do it,
Yeah,
I would
it's cool.
do it. We're
It's
on the
cool.
radio. We're entertaining people. That's fine. If a woman in private said, "Well, I'm not going to let you go out with me unless you do the Tim Allen grunt," I'm probably saying, "No, thank you, ma'am."
Yeah, there's something about that just hits really weird.
Yeah.
It was John, by the way. He is identified.
Thank
himself.
you, John. I apologize for not having my bleep together.
Now, does she grade them? So if you do a really good grunt, then you get to what? What happens after that?
She has her Hinge matches perform the Tim Allen grunt. She claims it is the price of admission. She specifically asked them to do it before they're allowed to talk to her.
All right. Now, okay, so let's just stop right there.
Mhm.
Would you do that?
No.
Or would you just unmatch it?
No.
Would you just say, hey,
yeah.
look, there's a lot of fish in the sea?
Yeah.
Or would you appreciate the creativity?
See, I do appreciate the creativity. I do appreciate the gag, the bit, whatever you want to call it. But I would not, that's not a hoop I would jump through. That's not what I'm looking for on a dating app.
I wish she would
jump through hoops.
I wish she would ask I wish she would ask me to do something else, and then I could do the Tim Allen.
I'd like that to be the second thing.
Yeah, and then if she got it, then it would be really cool and it would be off to a great start. You know what I mean? But there's something about specifically asking for that really just rubs me the wrong way. Although I should love it. We should love it, Josh. It's just
now
it's a difficult one.
It doesn't say in the story whether or not a good grunt gets you access to her or not. It seems like it might just be hey, would you do something silly?
Yeah,
would you do
dance for me,
something silly?
monkey.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She does have a few of her favorites and some compilation videos.
Yeah, it probably weed some people out, but you probably do lose a couple that you don't want to lose.
Okay, that is interesting because if you're a woman on a dating app, you're probably getting 100 matches a day, and you got to whittle it down somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. I see it from her perspective.
Then how do you, if you're the guy, what do you do to make your Tim Allen grunt stand out? Do you do it just over and over and over again?
You gotta you gotta wear the gear, right? You gotta have a tool belt and maybe a fatter friend wearing flannel standing.
Because you can,
you.
I believe that's an app where you could send voice messages,
Okay.
right? So
I don't know.
I've seen clips, so you could send short voice messages.
Oh, so
and there's screen recordings of.
Okay.
So this is probably going to get thrown out on, social media and stuff like that. But it's just a Tim Allen grunt.
Boy, it would really depend on how she asked me.
Yeah, it's tricky. What the mood is.
Because I don't want it to be demeaning.
No, you don't. It's like you don't want to.
You have to ask me
you
respectfully.
don't want to get a lightning bolt tattoo on your forehead.
That's right. I don't.
No,
I will not. Famously, that's my line.
That's where I draw the line. I'll do the glasses. I won't do the lightning bolt.
That's right. I need the glasses.
Interesting odd news story.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. We go to Pettiti. I don't really know where that's at.
Pettiti?
KRON is the local news station there. They reported a man who officers pulled over for drunk driving. They found more than 70 empty Bud Light cans while searching the DUI suspect's SUV Sunday night.
Oh, they were like the people at the baseball game building the tower.
That's right. The driver was struggling to stay in one lane. Officers pulled him over. During the stop, officers noted an open beer can in the cup holder.
Yep.
That's when a field sobriety test was done. He did not pass that. 3 times the legal limit there.
Yep.
They searched the vehicle and found 70 empty beer cans.
It's pretty incriminating, Josh.
It is. They stacked those beer cans on the hood of the car, took a photo of it, and did an advertisement on social media.
Don't do this.
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah. So you remember the guy who built the can dam at the Oregon State game?
Yes, I do.
From the Super Regionals.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy he was like, "Whoa, I'm famous now," because people started to interact with him. It was like, "Whoa, cool!" They told him to take it down at the Oregon State game. Well, guess what happened? That guy made his way to Omaha.
Oh,
sat in that very first ADA row right behind home plate, and guess what he started doing?
Oh,
build a can dam.
No way.
And
it got very far.
Guess who was not having that?
Omaha.
You're correct. ESPN, the NCAA, nobody was having that. So the can dam was immediately nixed by Mecca staff.
Probably the right call.
Yeah.
Finally, this story a little risque if your kids are in the car.
Great question. Tim says maybe he was going to the recycling center. That's what he should have said.
I was
going to the recycling.
I didn't
center.
have any garbage bags. Going to the recycling center. All right, risque story out of Florida. A man was stabbed in a drug dispute. He gets rushed to the hospital for surgery. While the doctors are operating on him, they find a crack pipe, lighter, and tinfoil containing cocaine inside of him.
Okay, how'd that get there?
Well, I think he put it there. He was hiding it there. The surprising find occurred earlier this month at St. Petersburg Bayfront Hospital, where Michael O'Neill, 43-year-old, was transported with a knife wound. While in surgery, an RN located drug paraphernalia and drugs,
a crack pipe,
in the man's rectum.
Yeah.
They called the police. They said, "Hey, what do we do here?" And they said, "Take it out, stitch him up, give us the evidence, and we'll take care of the rest."
Book him.
And yes, he was booked. $5,500 bond. He pled not guilty to the charges, which is an interesting angle to take.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence stacked against you in that case.
Sure is. Yeah,
probably more than the 70 beer can guy. What's that? That's not my crack pipe in my own butt. That must be somebody else's. How'd
The-
that even get there?
the guy-
I was hiding it for somebody.
The guy stabbed me. I must have done it when I passed out from getting stabbed because it wasn't in there pre-stab.
Mike writes in, I bet he grunted like Tim Allen during the release of the evidence. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. Noon hour is coming up. MLB Reaction Overreaction is a part of that. Martie Cordaro is a part of that as well. And we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Press release alert. This is from Rob Anderson at Creighton.
I know him.
Rob has this to tell us. Creighton men's basketball will return to Las Vegas yet again for the 40th time in the last 40 years. And they will be a part of yet again the Players Era Festival, which I believe now apparently the Players Era people are rebranding. They're attempting to rebrand themselves to. They would like to be called. I read this in the Norlander story earlier. They would like to be called November Mania.
Nope.
Now.
Nope, that's dumb. November Mania?
Yeah, November Mania, Josh.
Look, March.
It'll be
and
marketed
Madness
as
are
November
trademarked.
Mania. November Mania, Josh. So you can't do November, you can't do March, so you do November, and you can't do Madness, so you do Mania.
People will get it. People will get it.
So you're not going to call it that.
I will never call it that.
All right. Creighton, in the first day of that event, which is Monday, November 24th, the week of Thanksgiving, will play Baylor at 1 o'clock Central.
Yes.
12:30 pregame right here on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hell yeah, baby.
Baylor.
Short week, short shows.
It'll
when we do play.
either be the best or worst game ever. And knowing how Creighton plays in Vegas, probably the worst.
Oh no.
Then the next day, Creighton will play Iowa State.
Oh.
Just like they will in October, they're going to play them in November. This time it will count, and this it'll be in Vegas. 1:30 Central, pregame at 1 o'clock on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. We can already set these broadcast times.
I'll get them on the sports schedule.
And then there will be a third game. A third game has hit the event. It'll be on either November 26th or November 27th. That is either, I believe. Hang on. It'll either be the day before Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving.
I'd really like it to be the day before. I know that's not good for Creighton.
Yeah, that's probably not good for Creighton.
But I don't want Joey working on Thanksgiving.
And then they will seed them after the first two. So I checked this earlier. I saw that Creighton was playing Baylor. This schedule was leaked out this morning by some folks, and I saw this, and I thought, oh my God, another matchup with Baylor. All right, so the last time Creighton played Baylor, a great moment in program history, right? So blow it up. They beat Baylor in Denver, go on to the Sweet 16, and later go on to the Elite Eight. So that was awesome. They pulled ahead, dominated in the second half, and they had some demons that they had to fight against Baylor. Why did they had some demons? Well, we remember what happened the last game of Doug McDermott and crew's career. They lost by 30 in San Antonio. All right. So then I thought, have they ever played each other anytime other than that? And what did those games look like? The answer was yes. Creighton and Baylor have played each other 6 times ever.
6
in basketball. One of which has been in Omaha, December of 98.
Whoa.
Another of which was in Waco, December of 99. All right. So each hometown has had a game. And then they've also played each other in the following cities: Denver, San Antonio, which is where those 2 NCAA tournament games were, Oklahoma City back in the 60s.
Whoa.
Kansas City for the Hall of Fame tournament in 2017. That was Thanksgiving week as well. And now a 7th game with a 7th city. Rob, if you're, I should send an email or something. Rob, if you're listening, is there any other programs that Creighton has played at least 5 times but they have all been in different cities. I can't imagine.
Seems very unlikely.
They're
right?
about to do a 7th game in a 7th different city. Oklahoma City, Omaha, Waco, San Antonio, Kansas City, Denver, and Vegas. Fun. See, basketball is cool, Josh.
Also, Rob, if you're listening, hi, go Brewers.
You're a Brewers guy, Josh.
Rob
I didn't know this about
Rob
you.
is.
Yes. Yeah. I bet he likes that Mizorowski guy. Kenneth writes in.
Hi, Kenneth.
See you at Circus Sports Hat. Honk, honk. We'll see. I hope. But remember, if Nebraska football is going to make the Vegas Bowl, there's another opportunity. There will be 3 opportunities to go to Vegas in the next 6 months, potentially. Wow. And you got to pace yourself a little bit. With that being said, I did go back-to-back weeks that one time.
You did.
And 3 times in the span of about 6 months. So you never really know. So
Life
that's cool.
Comes at you fast.
Yep, mega NIL tournament, and you're going to play Iowa State twice in a month. Once in an exhibition in Omaha, and another in what will feel like an exhibition in Vegas. Now, I was reading so Matt Norlander had this on CBS Sports earlier today on some details. As we know, there are several new teams that are entering the Players Era Festival. All the teams coming back, obviously from last year. By the way, quick pop quiz, Josh. Do you know who won the Players Era Festival last year?
Wow, that is a great question. Alabama.
No, I think they were in the final. They were beaten by Oregon.
Oh.
Or Big Ten's Oregon.
I'm glad I gave up. I would not have known that.
Dana Altman won the Players Era Festival.
The Big Ten won the Players Era Festival, the Crown.
And not the NCAA tournament.
Well, that's hard.
It is. It's very difficult. So Tennessee, Rutgers, Baylor, Creighton, Kansas, Notre Dame, St. John's, Iowa State, Houston, Syracuse, Oregon, Auburn, Gonzaga's in here, Michigan's in here, San Diego State's in here, Maryland has joined the field, UNLV, they gave them a pity invite to this situation. Congratulations to UNLV. So they'll have to add in another site. By the way, the reason that Maryland is in it is because for whatever reason it was tied to Buzz Williams. It was going to be Texas A&M. Remember, Texas A&M and Creighton played each other in this event, and it was horrendous last year. But Buzz Williams went to Maryland, and with him came the invite to the Players Era Festival, a.k.a. November Mania, Josh. Can you believe it?
We're not calling it that.
November Mania.
Wow, what a weird and I'm sure completely on the up and up deal.
Totally normal. Totally normal. So, Norlander writes, the 2025 event, which will be marketed as November Mania, will stage games at MGM Garden Grand Arena and Michelob Ultra Arena and held Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. There are 4 women's teams that will also participate in their own 4-team tournament a couple days, either the day before Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving. Duke, South Carolina, Texas, and UCLA. This year's, remember the whole deal with the NIL tournament last year was that every team who's in it gets $1 million, and it was this huge kind of groundbreaking event. Well, Josh, I don't know if you heard this, but we just moved into the revenue sharing model today.
I've heard.
Is NIL canceled? And how do you funnel money to people? And
can't you still give NIL, but the clearinghouse?
The clearinghouse thing. Okay, so Norlander tries to explain it.
Oh. This should be good.
This year's pot will be north of $20 million in NIL-related earnings, sources said, making it the most expensive regular season event in the history of college basketball. The Players Era Festival was a world rocker in college athletics a year ago as news of it spread in the spring and summer of 24. Remember, Creighton was going to be at the Battle for Atlantis, and they were like, we're going over here. And there was a risk there, too, because nobody was exactly sure how this tournament was going to go off. It went off without a hitch. Broadcast partners were happy. The tournament was well run, and everything went off without a hitch. So they're running it back, and it's bigger this time. But what happens with the NIL money. The long-awaited House case settlement means that schools will legally and directly pay their athletes moving forward, effective today. The Players Era payout structure last year involved the organization sending money to each school individually instead of sending payments directly to players. Generally speaking, that is still how it's expected to work. How schools wind up divvying up the money will be case by case. For this year's academic year, this year's tournament, they have the $20.5 million cap, of course, in the revenue sharing part of things. Many schools, of course, won't be able to fund that full $20.5 million, Creighton definitely being one of them that is in this tournament. And in fact, some schools that don't are already planning to put the portion of the Players Era money into their overall rev share cap, according to sources at some of those programs, which I don't know how they get away with that, but whatever. They get a wire with $1 million from something called the PEF. They're like, put it in the bank.
Now we only need 19.5.
Exactly. Yep. We're trying to get there. Other schools who will definitely have the $20.5 million at their fingertips from the athletic department, like Alabama, Notre Dame, teams who are in this tournament. There is no room in their revenue share cap to put the Players Era money, meaning the NIL earnings from the tournament will be subject to auditing from Deloitte, which is overseeing all third-party deals for the NCAA moving forward, assisted through an online portal called NIL Go. Remember, that's the clearinghouse.
They can't be bought.
So once again, another bad deal, very bad deal for football schools. Shout out to basketball schools. Basketball schools like Creighton, not able to fund the entire $20.5 million from their athletic department, but we'll take the extra $1 million, put it in our rev share cap, and distribute it to our athletes however we see fit. For those other schools, they're already maxed out. They've already allocated the money, $20.5 million. They can't have any more than $20.5 million. You must go through the clearinghouse now.
Honk, honk.
That's right. Welcome to the Big East, ladies and gentlemen. Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne told CBS Sports that UA has a standard agreement. UA, University of Alabama, has a standard agreement with Players Era for the basketball tournament that covers transportation and travel costs. Players Era has separate NIL agreements with student athletes for each of the participating schools to pay them for marketing, sponsorship, and endorsement activities that will be done separately from the event and in a manner consistent with the new NIL Go procedures. So they do not seem to be concerned that they can funnel this money to the players. But remember, once again, we are in a mega NIL tournament, and now NIL is very different. But apparently only for the schools who will be funding the entire $20.5 million from their athletic department. Norlander writes, there's also a matter of how the money is split amongst the players, which will be a school-by-school decision. If you want, quote, one head coach in the event told CBS Sports, quote, if you want to give a player $70,000, that would be clean, but one guy getting $400,000, probably not. You would think there would probably be a line in there. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not Deloitte, but north of six figures seems too much.
I'm not Deloitte. Good quote.
Put it on a poll quote. I'm not Deloitte. So a lot of this whole thing this year is going to be, we're going to figure out what works through Deloitte, what doesn't work for Deloitte, and we're going to kind of go from there.
Oh, what? No, is that not cool? Oh
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So we can't do that, and we'll try again. Maybe there's something else that we could do.
I promise I won't do it again. There's no punishment for it though, right? Because what is the NCAA?
That's right. That's right. Who says this? Who punishes these things? So there you go. Mega NIL tournament is back, folks.
Kenneth in the YouTube chat.
Kenneth and I once again handshake me.
Just looked, and I have comped rooms for Vegas that week.
So does Daddy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you just have to get there.
Josh, that's how Vegas works. As I've always said, you go there once, you gamble your life away, and they will have you back forever and ever and ever for free. You just have to get yourself there.
Okay.
It's great. It's a great system. It's an incredible, beautiful trap.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Seems like a place I shouldn't go.
Do you have an addictive personality?
Yes. God, yes.
But I don't, if it's just me and you, we don't have to hit it that hard. We just you and I just think about this. Some of the most peaceful, serene times of my life. I wake up in the morning in Vegas. It's early. My body clock says it's even, my body clock is prepared to wake up at about 5 in the morning. You wake up and you take a shower, whatever. You go downstairs. There's the ding, 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 the rattles and the whatevers of the casino. You go outside. You walk to another casino. You take your little walk. If you see a blackjack table that stands out to you, you sit down on it. You have a nice coffee with it. And all of a sudden, 30 minutes have gone by and there's your morning.
Okay.
It's lovely. It's lovely.
I want to go because I've never been. I want to get a good steak, like have a nice meal.
Yeah.
Have a whiskey drink of some kind.
Yeah, you can get those. They got those.
I want to sit at a sports book.
Do you want to do high roller Vegas or do you want to do like dirty Vegas?
Oh God.
You could do both in a day if you really wanted to.
I guess I would rather do high roller.
Like dirty Vegas is a little different. Dirty Vegas is like you stopped at one of those bodegas on the side, you grabbed 3 tall boys of Bud Light Lime, and you just started ripping them on the strip. Maybe some fireball shooters and stuff like that. You're probably wearing like a cutoff shirt, but guess what? You're treated the same as everybody else. You're the same as everybody else. If you're wearing a suit down the strip, it doesn't matter. If you're wearing nothing down the strip, it doesn't matter. Actually,
there's a 20-something inside of me that sounds very appealing.
Yeah, you want to.
I don't
pleasant.
know that I can go that hard anymore.
You want to do pleasant Vegas.
Yeah,
I like that. All right, we'll put together an itinerary or something like that.
Okay.
Kenneth also follows up and says, "I will be causing problems at a White Castle that week at some point."
I respect it.
Yep. Yeah, that could happen. It's all it could all happen if you just go to the Mega NIL tournament where dreams are made of.
Our good friend Mike says, set limits. You can do it. I limit myself to 1 Bud Lime tall boy.
I like Mike because he's not like, please don't go to Vegas. He's just like, control yourself. Which I feel like you have to have a amount of trust in people and yourself to be able to do that.
It's on you, ultimately.
Ultimately, it's on you. One more before we take a break here, Josh. Before we get to baseball reaction, overreaction, it's a tweet from Matt Rhule.
Matt Rhule tweeted the show?
At Coach Matt Rhule. Yes, he tweets into the Equitable Bank. No, he tweets into the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed, and he says this. It wasn't at anybody, but he says this. Too many people have profited financially off of negativity and despair. Their time is over. What's that mean?
What's he mean?
Is he talking about Nebraska football?
I mean, he's clearly subtweeting.
So he is.
Is he talking about Josh Peterson and the Grunt Kick Chronicles?
Okay, so that's the first thing I thought of. I immediately texted this to Josh.
Oh.
And he was like, well, 4 people have already texted me this, so I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe he knows about the Grunt Kick Chronicles.
Whoa.
Josh is raking in the big bucks, by the way, on the Grunt Kick Chronicles. He is profiting off of negativity and despair. I'd say that's exactly what he's doing. Exactly what he's doing. And it's
great
sick.
work.
It's sick. It's disgusting, frankly. Disgusting. But no, here's what happens. Every time Matt Rhule does a tweet, and it's not very often, he's mostly a retweet guy.
He is.
But every once in a while, it won't be a quote tweet. He'll just say something. He'll just have a statement that he wants to say. And then my favorite thing that happens when that happens, or when any Nebraska football coach does a tweet or says something, is like, hell yeah. People respond. Like the responses are just inundated with, hell yeah, coach. Thank you so much for saying this. I love this. GBR. We're going to be so good this year. And stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, where'd we get that? Maybe he was talking about America.
The first comment is,
what does it say?
All caps, this, with like 12 exclamation points.
This makes me want to run through a wall, coach. Where's that cow? Show me that cow again.
Steer. Thank you. Another tweet. Fire emoji.
Exactly. How do you know what he's talking about?
Tell him, dog, let's go win a natty.
Exactly. It's stuff like that. It gets me every single time. It's so funny to me. But how do we know what he's talking about? Is he talking about Nebraska football at all? And does he have to do a press conference? Will he mention this at a press conference in like a month?
I hate to break it to
I
a
did a
lot
tweet
of
on
people.
July 1st.
What if this was a tweet about
America?
America? What if this was a tweet about certain congressmen not running for re-election?
It could be about anything, Josh. It could be about anything. But when you are so Nebraska football pilled, everything is seen through the prism of Nebraska football. Now, to be fair, this is the Nebraska football coach tweeting this, so I understand the connection. But here we are yet again. It's another summer, and it's another summer full of cryptic Matt Rhule tweets. What's that guy talking about? I have no idea. Travis writes in on the YouTube.
Hi, Travis.
My favorite was, I didn't see this one. There was a tweet that responded with, Rhule is tweeting like a wide receiver. Nebraska is going 10-2. I love it when people that's the other thing that happens. Someone from your program gets arrested or something like that, does something bad, gets a traffic stop or something like that. And they're like, that's a pretty negative thing that happens to many programs, right?
Definitely.
It happens during the summer when the kids aren't completely consumed by playing football all the time. It's a negative thing that happens. But immediately, if that happens in the next month or so to a Nebraska football player, the responses will be filled with, finally, we are back.
Yes.
We're getting people arrested again.
The missing piece.
Exactly. This is what we really needed.
I'm trying to hurry and get this on the YouTube before we go to break.
Well, you going to throw a little graphic up there or something?
It's a lovely cartoon, AI cartoon.
Okay.
Steve Sipple.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, is this a Walter reply? Walter is always tweeting memes of Steve Sipple.
No, it's not accredited to a man named Walter.
Okay.
Here it comes. It's loading.
I believe in you, Josh. We could do it. Oh. This looks like one of those Omaha World Herald cartoons.
Yeah, this is Sipple a cartoon Sipple smoking a pipe. And the speech bubble says, I don't think I'm out of bounds in saying this, Sean, but pour me a glass of Roulade.
Why does there have to be memes in response to the tweet?
Captain America tweeted this.
Thank you, Captain America. Your hard work is appreciated. All right, we'll come back. Baseball, MLB reaction, overreaction on the other side on 1620 The Zone. All right, it's time for MLB reaction, overreaction, baseball, Josh.
It's time.
Exactly. It is time. I cannot wait. The writers, I don't know. What have the writers been doing? I've been gone for the last several Tuesdays.
I put him to work last week. I was like, look, Connor's not here. Daddy's tired from working the series. Write me some good stuff.
But you still had to read and then react to the questions.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really important that 3 people are involved in this segment. There are 3 groups
Minimum.
of people. So
Yeah. We got through the segment.
Good. I'm glad. Let's get through this as well. What do we have today from the writers, Josh?
Writers, topic number 1. If this video happens at your baseball game, you play in a minor league park, and that should not be allowed.
Okay, interesting. Let's take a look at the video
Very
if you're watching
specific.
along with this on YouTube.
Colby Thomas, here comes the throw home. The tag made.
Let's
I didn't see what happened. There
let's-
was a human in the.
Colby Thomas, here comes the throw home. The
What a
tag
throw.
made.
Oh, maybe. Was he safe or was he out? I don't know. This is last night in the A's-Rays game. These are 2 teams who both play in crap parks. Some because of natural disasters that are unpreventable.
Sure.
Some because of corporate greed. Tie game, bottom of the 8th. Go-ahead run is rounding third for the Rays. And here comes the throw. Oh, no. A guy just popped up in the stands, and I couldn't see the play at the plate. So what was the question, writers? The question was, if this happens at your baseball game, you play in a minor league park, and that should not be allowed. That is a very appropriate reaction. Thank you for asking that question, writers. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Not an overreaction at all.
Oh, no, not even a little bit.
Should we watch it one more time?
Here comes the throw home.
Oh, there's that guy. Like,
The throw comes in from left in such a way that it sent the left fielder's body completely forward. Like he put everything he had into it and fell forward.
Yes. And we did not play the audio on that because many people like to make fun of the A's broadcaster.
Don't do that.
Just don't. You don't have to say it out
We're
loud.
all thinking the same
we don't have to
thing.
say it out loud all the time. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, we played that Denzel Clark catch, and it just ends up taking over the entire thing.
It does. It's not the point.
It's not the point.
Yeah.
It's not the point. Guys should not be getting in the camera shots.
Nope.
On your Major League Baseball broadcast. That's a new rule that I've just created.
Take number 2.
Yes.
The Baltimore Orioles should not sell.
The Baltimore Orioles should not sell.
Interesting. They're not good.
They aren't good.
Okay.
But new development, they're not that bad. So
interesting.
16-11 in June. Only 3 teams in the American League had a better mark than that. They're 7 games out of the wild card. 7 games out of the wild card. We're more than halfway through the season at this point.
Probably a lot of teams to jump in that.
A lot of teams to jump, but this is the effect of the third wild card. Everybody feels like they're in contention. They're getting healthier. They're starting to play better baseball. The Baltimore Orioles, and ultimately, what are you going to have to do to make the third wild card in the American League? Win 85 games, 86 games, 87 games. I think they're 9 games under 500 right now. I don't think they're that far off. I don't think a playoff run is outside of the realm of possibility for the Baltimore Orioles. There is a second option. So I bring this up, or the writers bring this up, because Ryan O'Hearn is the popular trade market candidate, which it brings me great pain.
Every time I see this, somebody's like, "Ooh, Brian O'Hearn is the guy everybody's really going to go after this trade season." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
You mean the guy
Connor.
the Royals DFA'd
Yeah.
for nothing, just like 2 years ago? Yeah, that guy, same guy. I'm calling this. I don't know if this is out there, but I don't know if baseball people are talking about this. How about mini sell? What if you did mini sell, where you are simultaneously sending the message of, we still feel like we can compete, but we feel as if this particular player, it would bring us back too much value to not do it. So we have to do it.
Okay.
I think the Royals are a candidate for mini sell.
Mini sell.
It's now you wouldn't say it out loud because nobody would want to include the word sell. But say if the Royals traded like Seth Lugo or something, many people are asking them to trade Seth Lugo. Could his value is probably never been higher in his career outside of, the midst of what he did last year.
If you could trade him for some type of bat.
Something somewhere,
Yeah.
right? He's probably not going to be a part of your super long-term future plans. It's not a waving of the white flag. It's a mini sell. It keeps you in the picture this year and also increases your ability to stay in the picture beyond this year.
So you tell me if this is if I'm thinking like an idiot.
Okay.
I don't think the Orioles need to sell because that's a good lineup. They have injuries.
Yep.
Yes.
Gunnar Henderson's just figuring it out right now.
Yeah.
Pitchers are getting healthy.
There will be a next year. Like, don't mortgage the
Correct.
future.
That's why it's a mini sell.
Yeah.
That's why you go to the mini sell.
Now their rotation is a combination of ass and injuries. So like you're probably not overcoming that. You're probably going to need to win every game 12-10.
Well, they did move the fences back in Baltimore.
That's right, they did.
By the way, look, the LSU Tigers have showed up at the MLB Network set.
Look at that.
Jared Jones, Anthony Ianson.
Those are all your friends.
Chase Shores, he throws 100.
Daniel Dickinson.
Not Kate Anderson, notably. What's he not doing there?
Who does he? Has he got something against Secaucus?
Yeah, it's odd.
Is he like John Rocker?
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Yeah, that guy's got takes.
He does still. Take number 3. The Detroit Tigers baseball team. The Detroit Tigers baseball's team to beat.
I think that's
maybe
what
add
they
some
were trying to
punctuation next time, writers.
Jeez, guys.
Idiots.
Figure it out.
Put the bong down. Do your job.
Detroit Tigers baseball's team to beat. I think that was how it's supposed to be read, right? Convince me that this isn't the case.
I mean, they have the same record as the Dodgers.
Yeah, and the Dodgers have more pedigree and more Otanis.
Yeah.
Obviously. But no team has more Tark Skubal than the Tigers.
So, like, they have the same record as the Dodgers, right? But I know how the Dodgers are winning.
Right.
I don't know how the Tigers are winning.
You don't know?
I don't know.
I mean, they've gotten a lot better offensively. They have a steady stable of starting pitchers, including an absolute horse at the front of their rotation. I mean, they're kind of checking all the boxes.
Okay.
This is not fluky. I still think the Dodgers pedigree probably just gives them the team to beat moniker, gives them that title. But I mean, this is the American League's best team, certainly, and it's not just by record. Like they earned that. That's
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about how the American League is just completely flat. This is the team that's rising up above all the rest of them right now.
I mean,
the Detroit Tigers, baseball's team to beat.
Obviously, they're 3 games better than Houston. They're 5 games better than the Yankees. Those are the other 2 division leaders in the AL.
Yeah. Remember when we used to do This Week in Baseball? Did that one get removed from the? Where's the This Week in Baseball music? I think it's probably not on here anymore. That's okay. That's all right. The time is over now. All right, back to the topics.
Back to the takes from the writers. Hopefully, this one has punctuation. MLB's greatest game since 2000.
That's not.
I know this story is like a month old.
This story is a month old. What? Look,
the hell,
writers are high as hell.
Yeah.
All right, so I saw this story, or the writers saw this story, ranking MLB's 25 best games of the 2000s.
Okay, this is a perfect July 1st.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go down the line. Number 1. We talk about it a lot here on 1620 The Zone.
Well, that narrows it down to 2.
Yep. And by the way, the other one is number 2, so
okay.
pick wisely.
Great.
Yep.
You said 1620 The Zone and not the Connor Happer Show, so I will say 2001 Game 7.
You got it.
Okay. Number 2 would be the 2014 AL wildcard game.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I thought you were referencing 2016 Game 7. Cubs.
No.
Cubs.
Oh, yeah, the great game. Great game.
2016 Game 7.
Obviously has a little more historical heft to it.
So, all right, follow along. 2001 Game 7, Diamondbacks over the Yankees, number 1. 2016 Game 7 of the World Series, Cubs 8, Indians 7 in 10, as Joe Buck said.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it gets a little bit. Different. Number 3, 2011 World Series, Game 6, the David Freese game.
The Joe Buck mimics Jack Buck game.
We will see you later tonight,
Mm-hmm.
I believe was the call from Joe Buck. Cardinals 10, Rangers 9. Number 4, I don't remember this game. 2017 World Series Game 5, Astros 13, Dodgers 12 in 10.
That sounds like a lot of fun, but yeah, I do not remember that.
I don't really remember anything from it. It sounds like a cool game. Yasiel Puig hit a home run.
Whoa, that guy was a comet streaking across the sky.
I did like that comment when it was happening, though. Number 5, 2003 ALCS Game 7, a.k.a. the Aaron Bleeping Boone game,
Okay.
I believe.
I would like to see that higher given the last 2 entries.
Number 6, 2014 American League wildcard game.
There it is.
Royals 9, A's 8 in 12.
I'm not patronizing you. That is the best baseball game I've ever seen.
People forget. We'll go through the top 10. Number 7, 2011 NLDS Game 5. Cardinals 1, Phillies nothing. This is the game where no.
I don't remember this.
This is the no, this isn't the Roy Halladay.
No.
Okay. Former gosh, I don't remember this game. Cardinal fans, reach out. 2004 ALCS Game 4. Red Sox 6, Yankees 4. That was the Dave Roberts steals second base. Don't let the Sox win tonight. Don't let us win tonight. Number 9, 2021 NLDS Game 5. And that was okay. This was less Game 5 of single series than it was Game 167 of a season-long war in the NL West. The Giants and the Dodgers had waged one of the great pennant races you'll ever see. San Francisco surprisingly holding off LA by winning 107 games in the regular season. It's reward home field advantage for this winner-take-all contest.
Darren Ruff home run.
Darren Ruff hit a home run in this game. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Number 10, 2024 World Series Game 1, Freddie Freeman.
That game's going to age like a fine wine.
Freddie meet Gibby. Gibby. Another iCarly reference. 2 days in a row, ladies and gentlemen.
Do this list in 10 years. That game's higher.
You think so?
Yeah.
By the way, also on the list, number 14, 2014 World Series Game 7, Madison Bumgarner dominates the Royals. I was pretty convinced that the Royals were going to find a way to break through against them. Never did. Number 15, 2001 World Series Game 5.
Wow.
I believe this is Mr. November.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Is there a Braves game on here? 2005 NLDS Game 4.
18 innings. Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Oh, is this the... No, well, this is probably the same year where what's-his-name hit that home run off of... Pujols hit that home run off Brad Lidge and ruined his career. Like, ruined his brain forever.
Yeah, that sounds about
anyway
the right timeline.
Great list. Thank you for the list, The Athletic.
2024 Game 161, Mets 8, Braves 7, 22 on the list.
What about the dropped pop-up game?
That's what I was looking
the
for.
Infield, that was a wild card game, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that like the first wild card game?
One of.
Yeah. It was early. I think it was like 13, maybe 12.
2012.
There you go. Rafael Furcal.
Love that guy.
All right. We don't have to do baseball savant corner since we spent a lot of time on that.
Oh.
Thank you, writers. Good job. Actually, horrible job.
Yeah.
Bad job by you. Try
I have
again
some
next
critiques.
Speaking of baseball, Martie Cordaro is our next guest.
Marty.
He'll join on 1620 The Zone. Baseball, hot dogs, the 4th of July. You can have it all at Warner Park on Friday. Omaha and Iowa, starting a mini 3-game weekend series. And we're joined now by President C, Martie Cordaro, joining us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hello, Martie. How are you?
Hello, Connor H. How are you doing?
Fantastic. It's been a while. I'd like to apologize for not being around much lately. So there you go.
Do you need a map, or were you able to come out?
You already used that joke. You already used that joke the last time I showed up.
But did you make it out okay? I didn't ask you that.
I made it out. And I believe I'll be able to find my way back. Although you do have to I don't know how much pull you have with the stuff around you have to get the is the construction gone on Giles Street yet?
I think they've added 4 or 5 more streets that are shut down now. I think it's what's happened. I tell you, you got 114th, you have Giles, you've got I-80 westbound. So I just tell people, if you're coming west, get off on 84th and then you go south to Giles, and then you can. It's just easier to go that direction.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It is summertime in Omaha, right? When every single road, highway, or street has something going on it.
100%. So we'll maneuver our way around it to get out to the ballpark on Friday. Always a joy to be out on the 4th of July. What does this year look like? I mean, when you compare it to another 4th of July at the ballpark, or really when you think about what it might look like, I guess, what are you expecting on Friday for people to come out and see the game?
Well, it's a little different. We're normally July 3rd. 3 out of 4 dates we're home on July 3rd. So the 4th is a little different for us. It's not something that's regular. I think it's like the 4th or 5th time since I've been here. Almost 20 years. So
whoa, really?
It's on the 4th. So that's a little different. A little bit of a different crowd. Because on the 4th, a number of people have family events or things that are already planned. So it's a little bit different crowd. We are playing Iowa again. That's always great. And I would say, we're fellow Cub fans, but for those that are Cub fans in the market, this is the last time. It's a really strange year on that end. Generally, we have them 12, 15, or 18 games each year, and it's only 9. We've had them 6, and then, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be the last 3 times you get to see the Iowa Cubbies. And, they've got a number of good prospects. So, no, it's going to be a great night. FNBO continues to be a great sponsor, and it's hard to believe this will be the 57th annual show that started way back at Rosenblatt, way back in 1969.
I think what's great, and you sort of hit it on a little bit there, what minor league baseball has done, everybody either gets a home game on the 3rd or on the 4th. How do they, they just find a way to split that up? How do they actually make the decision on who gets the 3rd and who gets the 4th?
Well, some years it is more challenging than others. This year there was kind of a natural break with the 6-game series,
right?
So teams are able to play 3 at home or on the road, and then do the opposite. We're all anxiously awaiting our 2026 schedules because it will not be as easy next year. So we're not sure how that's going to be going forward. It could be that we're on the road for both or at our home both next year. So we'll see what happens. And this year just happened to work out. We've been working with Iowa as our July 3rd, 4th travel partner. This is either the 3rd or 4th year under the new scheduling scenario. And it's, for us, it's fairly easy, 2-hour bus ride for them or for us. And I guess technically for both of us, because we'll both be coming from Iowa after Thursday night. That's a lot easier than, I think, in 2021 we flew from here to Gwinnett, Georgia on the morning of July 4th, which was a little strange. But such are minor league schedules sometimes.
Yeah, you're a little bit isolated in Omaha, but not to Iowa, so that helps everybody out a little bit. As far as the baseball is concerned, Martie, people don't know this maybe, but so the season effectively starts over in the second half. We're a week into the second half, 6 games into the second half of the season right now, and now you have another opportunity to get yourself potentially a playoff spot again. What are you looking forward to from a baseball perspective as the second half kind of fires up now?
Yeah, with so many players being called up to the big leagues, whether it be Drew Waters, John Rave, Jack Caglione, basically our entire outfield to some degree, it has given players like Tyler Gentry a few more at-bats. He's starting to hit. Joey Wimmer is starting to hit. So it gives those players an opportunity for the Royals to see what depth they do or don't have at the AAA level. And I think we're going to see a lot of that on the offensive side. On the pitching side, it's a little different. There's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of in and outs. Right now, you could argue that our top starting pitcher is 45 years old, Rich Hill, and or has been recently.
Yeah.
And so it's a little different on the pitching side. I'm not sure what we're going to see in the second half. I haven't paid a lot of attention to what is at Northwest Arkansas, but this is an opportunity for players to continue to show their worth and for the Royals to find out what depth they have in the minors.
Yeah. Is this an odd? I mean, players come up and down, at rapid pace all the time, and you just sort of have to adjust as you go. Is this different from years past, where it just feels like all the time, major pieces of last year's team that won a championship and this year's team are kind of coming up and down very, very quickly. And it's not just one. It's not like Edward Olivares getting familiar with I-29 a lot. It's like everyone this year.
It has been. Yeah. And, and some of that goes back to, if you go back 2 years ago, performance and injury challenges at the big league level. Last year, it was limited. You had a much more consistent team that was from a production perspective, and you had fewer injuries. And this year's been kind of maybe more, it's kind of been a mix of what 23 and 24 were. So you do have a variety of players, not just one individual like Edward,
yes,
up and down I-29. So it has been a little bit of a different season. And, obviously baseball season's long. Let's hope for some good health. Let's hope that the big club starts to drive in some of those runs,
please,
for when they get players on base and to help the pitching out, because we know how competitive the pitching and successful the pitching has been most games this year, and they just need to get more timely hitting. And I think there's still time in the season to see the Royals get back on track.
Looking ahead a little bit, is obviously this weekend is a great weekend to be at the park, including the 4th at 7:05, Saturday at 6:05, and then Sunday at 5:05. Once again, last chance to see Iowa. But also, I'm looking ahead at the promotional schedule for next week. What is going on with the Hogwarts House scarf package? We have something for Harry Potter fans this year. This is new?
It is new. We did Harry Potter night 2018, 2019. It's been a while, one of those years, and our staff, in talking with some of the other DBH clubs that have had some success with this, they wanted to do Harry Potter night. So it's going to be on Friday night, fireworks, July 11th. And there are 4 different houses, and fans can go online to omahastormchasers.com, and they could also call 402-738-5100, and they're able to buy a package. And their package will give them a ticket in that particular house's section.
That's cool.
And then you get it, and then you get a specific scarf for that house as well. And look, there are fans of every movie franchise out there, and few are bigger than Harry Potter, Star Wars, but few are bigger than Harry Potter. And
hey, you can't have a Star Wars scarf. Like, there's not a 5th section. There's just the 4 houses for this.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But yeah, so we'll have that night, and then obviously the next night is Bobby Witt bobblehead, and we've sold tickets from as far away as 3 and 4 hours for people that collect bobbleheads. That's on the 12th, along with Faith and Family Night. So there's a lot happening the next couple of weeks. And one thing I will say, backing up to the 4th, is parking lot will open early, and it will be packed. It will be busy. There are limited fixed seats remaining. So if you are coming out on the 4th, I encourage people to come to the parking lot early and tailgate. That way, because of the area construction, road construction, you're not 6 o'clock trying to get into the parking lot.
Yep. Arrive early, stay for a while, enjoy the fireworks after. Marty, always great to talk to you. We will do it again on Friday at the ballpark, and I'll call you if I get lost.
High five, man. Look forward to seeing you. And you just let me know. I can send a search party for you if you need one.
Yep. Other duties as assigned, including taking a call from me, and I'm lost.
It's going to be fun, and look forward to having you for the day game coming up soon as well.
Yep. Next week.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. So,
next Tuesday.
Yeah, July 8th. So Odson and I we'll connect. So I'll make sure all is well.
Excellent. Thanks, Marty. See ya.
All right. See you guys.
Martie Cordaro, check him out Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Warner Park. And yes, how about that? I almost forgot to mention that. A week from today, the Connor Happer Show returns to Warner Park.
That's right.
It's Omaha. It's Toledo. 12:05 start.
The Detroit Tigers, the baseball's best team.
Baseball's, I don't know how they're doing in AAA,
Mhm.
but a lot of those guys that were playing for the AAA Tigers are now on the big Tigers.
They've grown up before our very eyes.
So 3 at home this weekend, including starting with Friday, and then 6 straight next week, Tuesday through Sunday. That includes the Harry Potter night on Friday. I didn't know that it was that. That's cool. Which house would you be, Josh? You notoriously love Harry Potter.
Couldn't tell you.
Josh, this is a perfect topic for you. We'll have to get you when we go on Tuesday. This will be a great opportunity for you to finally relive your days of when you were required to join Gryffindor almost.
It would be a great bit to dress me up. That's for sure.
Josh is getting flashbacks, nightmares, all sorts of things. Bobby Wood Jr. bobblehead Saturday.
Hello.
Yeah, big time. That's next Saturday, July 12th. All right, thanks to Martie for joining us as always. 1 o'clock hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Josh, I actually feel like you'd be a Ravenclaw.
I don't know what that means.
Yes, you do. Dig in there.
No, I don't.
Dig in there.
It's
Find the Harry Potter recesses of your brain.
It's one of the houses.
It is. It is.
Houses of what? I don't know.
Now, the Ravenclaw house was never really explored.
Oh.
We knew a lot about Gryffindor. We knew a lot about Slytherin. We never really knew a lot about Ravenclaw or Hufflepuffs.
Ravenclaw traits center around intelligence, wit, wisdom, and a thirst for knowledge. Thank you, Connor.
I would say that describes you perfectly.
Ravenclaws are often known for their originality, creativity, sometimes leading them to be perceived as eccentric. Yeah, this all tracks.
What about Hufflepuff?
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, just to make sure you're not a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
Ravenclaw is a purple, right? That's kind of purple.
I don't know.
All right, never mind.
Hufflepuff traits center around loyalty, hard work, fairness, and kindness.
Oh, maybe you're a Hufflepuff.
They're known for their dedication, patience, and strong moral compass. They value friendship, treat everyone as equals, and are often described as accepting and welcoming.
I think you're more Hufflepuff than Ravenclaw, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Should we take a test next Tuesday?
Yes,
While
we
you're
should take the
dancing
Harry
around?
Potter. We should take the Harry Potter test, actually. Which house are you? Number 22 will surprise you. But Gryffindor was always made out to be like the best one, because that's the one that Harry was in.
Okay.
Harry.
Oh, yeah. Everything Harry does is so great.
But not only Harry, the great Ron Weasley, Hermione, something, and many others. All
the main
Gryffindors.
characters.
All the
were
main
in
no,
one
seriously.
house.
Everyone was in Gryffindor.
Why have other houses?
Except for the bad guy.
Yeah, there was a bad guy house.
Slytherin.
Okay, that makes sense.
That just sounds bad.
Yeah.
Right. And then there was just two others. I don't know why they existed. Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw.
Is two houses, a good house and a bad house, just two on the nose?
Maybe they felt like we can't make this a war. We have to make it so everybody else is involved kind of as well.
Odd that J.K. Rowling, of all people, would say two of something is not enough. I need more.
Interesting. Good question from Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Big East Harry Potter. So would Ravenclaw be Seton Hall and Hufflepuff is DePaul?
Okay. We can do this. We can figure this out.
Which Big East team is which Harry Potter house?
Mm-hmm.
Also, a follow-up from Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Have they ever thought of a spinoff where they're having a normal wizard teen experience in the loser houses, like while all the exciting stuff is happening around them? That's hilarious. They're in the Harry Potter world. Like the story of Harry Potter, like the incredible story of Harry Potter is going on all around you, but you have literally nothing to do with it because you're in Hufflepuff and you're just like, I've heard about this Harry guy. I don't know. I'm staying away from this. All right. I am not going into those ones.
Seems like too much hullabaloo.
Yep.
Now, I found a Reddit post where someone did Hogwarts houses as Ivy League schools.
Okay. All right. This is good.
Slytherin is Penn. Hufflepuff is Brown. Ravenclaw is Princeton. Gryffindor is Yale.
Sure. J-Man, by the way, on YouTube says Slytherin is Yukon. Hurley, who shall not be named. Well, we kind of named him. Did that. I love this. First of all, I love the Harry Potter spinoff. And I love the fact that we have to talk about Harry Potter when we're there on Tuesday with Josh. Because
we don't have to.
No, but we want to promote the Storm Chasers. We want to promote the Storm Chasers, Josh.
We do. It's going to be an excellent night for people who care about that film and book franchise.
And I imagine they already have the scarves in.
I would think so,
maybe
yes.
we could grab one.
Can we have one scarf? We'll give it back because I don't want to take it with me.
Oh, no. I don't think we want to give it back. We don't have. Let's just pretend like we don't have that option, Josh.
Oh, okay.
We're not giving it back. And Josh is taking home a Gryffindor scarf.
I will not get a lightning bolt tattoo.
Okay. That's where you draw the line.
That's my line.
Old man Doug texts in.
Hi, old man Doug.
Of all the good movies that Connor hasn't seen, he's a Harry Potter fan. #sad. Doug, hashtags don't work in tweets. Or text.
Text.
Sorry.
It's okay. They do work in
I do. I love doing hashtags and texts because I feel like it's kind of funny, actually. But yeah, I've seen some Harry Potters. So what? I like it. I listen to the audiobooks. First of all, everyone has seen Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Okay.
Which one's that?
The first one.
Yes.
Everybody's seen that movie. The truth is,
that was a children's movie.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. And then really, I didn't see any of the rest of them throughout my childhood, but I had to see that one because that's how it worked. And then a couple of years ago, we went on a really long road trip and we got all the audiobooks. So we got like halfway through the second or third one by the point where we got bored to death and we couldn't handle it anymore. So we just started listening to music again and podcasts again, like normal people.
There you go.
And then my wife was just like, hey, idea, when we get home, we'll just watch all the movies. And I was like, great. I love that trade.
We'll be done so much quicker.
And we did. And I enjoyed it. I get the gist. I know what's going on. Harry, good. Everybody else around him, bad. Another follow-up from Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I was on campus at the same time as Doug McDermott. I suppose this was my experience. The spinoff of, well, that Harry guy over there. I don't really know what's going on.
Travis in the YouTube chat.
Hi, Travis.
Only a super dork has actually read the Harry Potter books.
I agree with that, actually.
Oh, tough luck.
They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Longer and longer and longer.
It's kind of unnecessary.
At a certain point, it's no longer a child's book.
Like, I feel like they hit they hit the right space in between, from the movie perspective. It was like a kid's movie, so it was still kind of whimsical and magical and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And also there was an air of seriousness. Probably about second or third movie. That's when they hit their sweet spot.
I like the exorbitant.
Beyond that, it got wacky.
Mm-hmm.
It got out of control. It was too serious. It was too deep, and it wasn't enough kid stuff anymore. People do like Hagrid, though.
Which one's that?
He's the big hairy guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that guy was fun. R.I.P.
He's pretty chill. Oh, he died.
He died.
Oh,
that
no.
man died.
All right, I've received a couple of messages, texts, things like this about Harry Potter.
Okay.
I got one from my DMs. Harry Potter is good bleep. Thumbs up emoji.
Whoa.
What do you think about that?
Poll question, is Harry Potter good bleep?
Yeah.
Thumbs
up emoji. Jed writes in.
Hi, Jed.
Wonder what Jed thinks about Harry Potter.
I can imagine.
Harry Potter adults are just Disney adults in disguise.
Oh boy, I bet there's a lot of the Venn diagram is
on.
pretty small.
I'm not a Harry Potter adult. I just don't mind Harry Potter. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what's going on, but I don't mind the movies. Old man Doug falls up. Harry Potter is Nerdville. I haven't seen any Harry Potter movies. Nerds.
I feel like I'm getting a clearer picture of what old man Doug was like in high school.
He was cool.
Yeah.
He was cool.
Probably had a slick back hair and a leather jacket.
Meanwhile, Josh, actually, you know what? We should just isolate this as the Harry Potter segment. Put this on the best ofs at the end of the year.
Okay.
When we return, take this part out. When we return, Tony Pettiti, the Big Ten commissioner, went on the Joel Klatt podcast, and Joel Klatt had many ideas, and Tony Pettiti was like, "Sure,
I'm up for anything."
I don't understand this. I continue to not understand this league. We'll be back and discuss that after this on 1620 The Zone. All right. We got to explore this here real quick. Thank you to.
Oh, I see it.
Thank you to Jimmy, who just made a comment in our YouTube. This I was very confused. I spent 2 minutes trying to figure out what he was talking about. He says this top fans thing is interesting. And then Charles said, the purple crowns, yeah, they're new. And Jimmy said, yeah. So we figured it out, and I went to YouTube. Yeah, so if you watch us literally on YouTube and you comment throughout the entire show, it apparently decides who the best people are. I don't know what the criteria is here, but apparently today, the top people have been voted according to the algorithm.
Wow.
Right? Maybe we should do this at the end of every show. Here are our top people for today.
Uh-huh.
It's like Facebook friends, but
I mean, it would be a good incentive for the listeners.
J-Man is number 1 today. Chance is number 2. Our Chance. And number 3 is Jimmy himself, Jimmy Palmer. And so everybody else, you're just playing for pride at this point. You're garbage.
It feels like it's a little late in the show to up your, but I don't know how it works. Maybe you can zoom up to the top real quick.
Hopefully this doesn't encourage people to just spam comment. I don't know what's in the algo, but it's ranking our fans. It's ranking I shouldn't say our fans. That's stupid. It's ranking watchers of the show.
I mean, you love sports. You love being competitive, don't you? Don't you want to be number 1? You don't want to be a loser.
Josh, don't do that. You could be number 1 if you want.
You're all number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah.
But only one of you is getting that sweet, sweet number 1 spot.
Travis says, is it sheer numbers for messages? I have no idea.
I don't think so.
We're going to look into this after the show.
J-Man, great listener of the show, great watcher of
Yeah,
the
he hasn't
show.
had the most comments today.
Certainly not.
Huh. Is this an all-time thing, or is this just a today thing?
Not a clue. I just learned about it 2 minutes ago.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for alerting us to this.
Does
this mean our YouTube is monetized now?
I was told that can't happen.
Oh, that can't happen.
I
thought it was it. They couldn't figure out how to make it happen.
If you could monetize it, they would sell the hell out of this.
Totally.
Definitely.
Totally. All right. Anyway, Tony Pettiti. He's the commissioner of the Big Ten.
Big Pettiti man.
Yes.
I didn't know how to spell his name. Because he doesn't.
Pettiti.
He appears in public so little, I don't have to write his name ever.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm obviously thinking the same thing as you went on this podcast. I'm like, what does this guy actually even sound like, and how does he talk, and how does he think? I don't know anything about him. Like you said, he's never out there. He's never doing anything. So I was most curious to find out about that. First of all, like my impressions of him, weird to say that because he's been the commissioner for 2 years. My impressions of him are he's pretty sharp.
Okay.
Like he gets it. He has an understanding of the landscape a little. He came off as pretty well read on the whole playoff thing. He knows what does what and all of that stuff.
What Harry Potter house would he be in?
Probably a Gryffindor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Now, at the same time, the playoff stuff, it's not like it's overly complicated. we make this so they were talking about this, Klatt and Mr. Pettiti. And the whole thing was, we want to, and Klatt says it like he's speaking for the Big Ten, but he's like, I want to find a way to lessen the impact that the committee has on the field. Because when you put it in the committee's hands, then who knows? It's going to be really, really subjective at that point. And I think I just think it's a scare tactic, to be honest with you. How many decisions about whether to put a team in or not put a team in the college football playoff have actually been controversial over the 10 years of us doing this now? And remember, most of the years up until last year, we're talking about 4 teams. 4 teams. There is a lot more than 4 good teams, 4 deserving teams in the country who should make the college football playoff. But yet, We were tasked to getting it down with 4 all the way up until last year. During that time, there was only like 1 or 2 times where we had to really dive into the numbers and think about it. And then and then to Klatt's point, because Klatt's point was this: when you do that, it just becomes a PR war, and it just becomes about who, could be the most showy. And he brought up the SEC bringing up their whole pamphlet, several weeks ago when they were trying to get their, explain their case for why they think their method of creating a college football playoff is better than everybody else's. And Klatt was like, well, when you put it up there, you put it out there and you leave it open for interpretation. That's exactly what you're doing. You're leaving it open for interpretation. There's not that much space to interpret. It's usually pretty cut and dry. So I just think that argument falls hollow for me. I mean, because this is all an argument to, for whatever reason, not do the 5+11 model. Go to 16, or go 5+11. 5 automatic conference, champions. Well, I guess 4 plus a group of 5, I suppose. And then the 11 will be decided by the rankings. It's going to be pretty clear. You basically just put them in the order of their records. I don't want to manipulate the schedule however you want to manipulate the schedule. Like, I don't want to hear the argument that Alabama coming in at 9-3 should be playoffs because they lost to 3 good teams last year. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how much you would have competed in the college football playoff, because they probably would have, right? I just don't want to see the 3-loss team in there. You lose 3 games, you're out. That's the society that I want to live. It's not that hard. Everybody has their rankings. And everybody knows who's better than the other teams.
Right.
And so, like, there's very rarely this gray area where it becomes political and the conferences are fighting for their own and all this stuff. Like, it just doesn't happen that often. So I just feel like that whole argument falls hollow on me. So they went on and on talking about the minimizing the committee's impact. And they kept talking about access for others. Give me a break, first of all, on access for others. Klatt even brought it up on this podcast yesterday, Big Noon Conversations. We're getting access for others. And then he even brought up the immediate retort to that, which is, I know you're us talking about access for others in our in our ivory tower here in the Big Ten, and they think, well, you don't want access for others. Why do you get 4 spots and everybody else gets 2? It's a great question. Thank you for rhetorically asking yours. And they never really answered. Pettiti was, well, that's just kind of what we thought was appropriate in our model. We just felt like that was appropriate. Why did you think that was appropriate? Because you think you're better than me? Yes. Listen, I'm fine. In fact, in favor of an idea that you have to hit certain standards to make the playoff. I think that's a great thing. That's why I think we put in the automatic bids. That's why if you win your conference, you get in. That's great. That's all we need. They're talking about, oh yeah, it makes it, in the NFL, you know what you have to do in order to make the playoff. It'll be just like this in our new playoff format, where all you have to do is get top 4 Big Ten, and then, it's cut and dry, and you make it simple. That's why we have the 5 power leagues getting auto bids, dumbass. The parameters are there. They're simple. Be a top 15 team in the country, or win your conference. That's how you get in. It doesn't have to be. We don't have to go any further than that. And it's almost always cut and dry on who the teams are going to be. We got way off track on this whole. And to be honest with you, Pettiti, his general vibe, as this 4-4-2-2-1-1, and then Klatt brought up his stupid 2.5 thing. His general vibe, Pettiti's vibe was like, yeah, I mean, whatever. We're open to ideas, but we have seen nothing better than the 4-4-2-2-1-1-1, whatever it is. But we're listening. We're listening. As far as I'm concerned, the Big Ten is the only team, quote unquote, the only conference that is out on this island as far as what them wanting to have that format for the college football playoff. So, as far as I'm concerned, really the only thing holding it up from getting done. We're talking about not this playoff once again, but 26. So, if you're nonchalant about it and you're like, oh well, show me some good ideas. I love ideas. There is a fine idea out there right now, and everyone seems to agree about this. Why aren't we? It was a weird podcast.
It sounds like it.
They came off as like bros,
and
it was this kind of casual back and forth conversation. And Klatt wasn't really asking him questions. He was kind of just like talking. And he was saying most of the things, and he was just like, yeah, I love ideas, and I love, I love access, and I love more good college football. He would say all the buzzwords too. He would say, oh, this is great for the fans, and we want what's good for the fans, and all that stuff. And I'm like, geez, man, like you say that, but then that is not in any of the decision making that I see. So I don't know. It's hard to it's hard to trust, I guess.
I'm not a big like conference rooting guy, so I'm not like, yeah, that guy's looking out for me and my beloved.
Oh no, I'm not. No, I mean, I am. Now, I just had a segment earlier about how the Big Ten is stupid, so I guess keep that in mind here. But the Big Ten, in this specific case, the Big Ten's idea is the worst. I agree with the SEC. I don't know how you don't agree with the SEC. 4 automatic bids to the college football playoff for each the Big Ten and the SEC. And once again, we talked about this before, but I'm sure the SEC, everybody's looking out for themselves. Everybody's looking out for number 1 here.
Sure,
but at least
they should to some extent.
Sure, but at least you could still put on the front and the guys that you're not doing that, and you do care about access when you move off of whatever the hell this model is right now. Because when you're on this model, on the 4-4-2-2-1-1 that the Big Ten is on, which we got to come up with a better name for it, but for now it's the 4-4-2-2-1-1-1-1-1, whatever it is. When you're sitting on it and you're like, yeah, I think this is the best one, you're telling people out loud that you think your conference and the SEC matters more and is better than the other conference. Yep. And the answer to it was, oh, well, we just thought that was appropriate. Why do you think it's appropriate? You think you're better than me? Once again. So, like, once again, I'm sure that the SEC is feeling like the SEC from its angle is probably thinking, well, we're going to get our team in that wins the conference, and we're going to get probably 4 or 5 more teams, and they're not capping us, basically. So, awesome. We're looking out for number 1. We're looking out for ourselves, but also we could say out loud, I think this is a great college football playoff format, because it is. It makes sense. The other one doesn't make sense.
I can't tell if the SEC allowed the Big Ten to, like, hey, you go public with the plan first, and like used them as cannon fodder so that the SEC could go, whoa, that was poorly received. Okay, let's pivot and go to this. We're going to get more teams in anyway this way. Like,
it's pretty funny.
Like, I don't know if they were playing chess or checkers, but
it's possible.
The SEC comes out looking like a rose in this, right?
I mean, I can't make any sense of what the Big Ten and the worst part, because now we spent the last couple of weeks talking about how the Big Ten needs a PR firm, and Klatt, is the first person to step up to the table. But now we have to hear people argue that this is actually a good and smart thing. Nobody believes that.
NCAA basketball tournament expansion is great.
Exactly. Yes, Joel Klatt is the Seth Davis of this.
No.
Unfortunately for him. By the way, the Big Ten needed a honk. They do, but it was pretty predictably going to be Joel Klatt. He was like minus 550.
Yeah,
when the odds came out. So congratulations to Klatt in this regard. Oh yeah, one more thing before we take a break here, Josh.
Okay.
Are you interested? We've talked a lot about Vegas over the last 2 days.
Vegas.
So Brett McMurphy's first piece of work for On 3 is to make bowl projections here on July 1st.
Great assignment.
It is an excellent assignment. And he says that Nebraska is going to the Vegas Bowl, which is Vegas New Year's Eve, fascinating, interesting, and a good bowl game, right? It's high up the ladder. Although the opponent that he has Nebraska playing is interesting, but possible. Nebraska versus Washington, yet again, in another bowl game. And yes,
because those are still
they're still carried over from the prior times where the Pac-12 technically had that tie-in. Yeah. That would,
I don't know that any of that would do it for me. Now, Vegas on New Year's Eve football game is
it would feel pretty big.
Yeah.
It would feel pretty big. It would feel a lot bigger than the Pinstripe Bowl, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Feel a lot bigger than Detroit Poop Bowl.
Well, obviously.
So it's not that bad. But playing Washington would probably not in another bowl game. And then you play them next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you play them the year after that in the regular season as well. No, thank you.
I don't know that would sell a lot of tickets. Now, Nebraska fans would go.
No, we've been saving up for bowl games for years.
Yeah.
Maybe that New York one ran you dry last year.
Well, I got mugged. I don't have any money left.
Yep, they stole my money on those damn subways. All right. We'll take a quick break. Back with the polls. We'll tell you what to watch. And, of course, I have to now give $20 to the number one fan of this show.
Oh, is that how that works?
That's what Jake said.
Okay.
On YouTube, he says, I vote Connor has to give first place $20 at the end of every show.
Good take, Jake.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
Defending your rights takes experience. At the Cordaro Law Group, that experience spans 3 generations. Whether it's a misdemeanor, felony, or DUI, we bring the same structure trusted by local and national clients. Courtroom preparation, sentencing insight, and real legal strategy. Schedule a consultation with your defense team today. Visit
All right, to the polls at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. One from yesterday's crossover.
Yeah, it was a doozy.
Does concrete have a smell? The answer is going to be no here.
I think it does, though.
What? Whoa. The answer came out as yes, 72%.
70%.
Overwhelming, actually. We'll also do this one since we gave it a retweet from Gary and Matt. Matt McMedia says Oreo is a sandwich. Do you agree with him? I am abstaining, so I don't know the answer to this. Just say yes and get it over with.
Yes, it's a sandwich cookie.
How many people voted yes?
I'll bet it's 50-50.
Now I have to vote to see the results.
Oh, that's true.
77% said no.
Whoa. Okay.
Was Coleman Hawkins a pretty good college basketball player? Yeah, he's fine.
I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
Oh, you don't?
No.
All right. Yeah, check it. Check him. Don't check him out. He was fine. 67% said no. He was not a pretty good college basketball player. When you think of Kansas State, do you think of Coleman Hawkins?
Nope.
No. 90% said no.
Who do you think of when you think of K-State? It's Bill Snyder, right?
Either Darren Sproles or L. Roberson.
Okay. Darren Sproles is a good answer.
Have you ever met someone named Claude?
I don't recall.
No, I'd love to though. Was it the instructor in Along Came Polly?
Well,
It was played by the guy who did the TV show where he was a baseball announcer.
Brockmeyer?
Yeah, Brockmeyer. What was that guy's name?
Hank Azaria?
Hank Azaria.
His name was Claude, Connor. Wow.
Bang!
What a pull.
That's what I'm talking about. I like Along Came Polly. I haven't, though. 71% also say that they haven't met a Claude. Is 14 years the right number of years to hit the sweet spot of nostalgia?
It's pretty close.
Sure. 58% say no. And finally, is Harry Potter good bleep?
No.
65% say yes.
Oof. Bad take, audience.
Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching tonight?
We are watching Major League Baseball, Yankees, Blue Jays coming up in a matter of minutes on MLB Network. Guardians, Cubs from Wrigley tonight on TBS at 6 o'clock. White Sox, Dodgers, 9 o'clock, MLB Network. It's also your MLB TV free game of the day. One WNBA game on Prime at 7 o'clock tonight. The Minnesota Lynx host the fighting Caitlin Clarks.
Ooh, I heard about that Caitlin Clark thing where she was not the number one vote getter in the All-Star game.
She was the 9th best guard or something like that.
Ooh.
Wow. What are you trying to say,
Disrespect.
WNBA? Tennis on ESPN, day 2 of Wimbledon going on right now. Day 3 is tomorrow morning, depending on when you prefer to watch your tennis. Tonight on Big Ten Network, 8 p.m., Wisconsin, Nebraska, basketball from 2014. A little no-sit Sunday on your BTN.
Every year, here's a take, bonus take.
Okay.
Every year, Nebraska basketball will have a big game, and they'll say, let's do no-sit Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And every year, for the rest of eternity, I will say, you could stand and be as loud as you want, and frankly, you should. It should be a raucous environment, but it's not going to be no-sit Sunday.
That's right. It won't be that special moment.
You already did it. It all worked out perfectly, and it was beautiful.
I don't know.
Taran Petaway hit a dagger 3 for Nebraska's 7th, 8th, and 9th points of the game, according to Ket Pavelka. That's not repeatable. You can't do that again.
I don't know. First Sunday in February, Minnesota's in town. What game could be bigger in the sport of college basketball? A few movies on tonight. Goodfellas is on E at 5:30. It's followed by The Departed at 8:30. Raiders of the Lost Ark and is on at 7 on Paramount. And I'm going to go movie nerd real quick. Turner Classic Movies at 7 o'clock tonight. Strangers on a Train, one of the more underrated Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Strangers on a Train.
That's right.
Does it have Tom Hanks?
It does not. But I could envision a reboot where Tom Hanks is one of the.
Well, he was already a
gentlemen.
train conductor in Polar Express.
That's right. How about in real life instead of creepy animation?
Yeah, that was weird.
Was
Who's
creepy.
the actors?
Great question. I don't know.
What's it called again?
Strangers on a Train.
Strangers. Strangers on a Train. Oh, whoa, 1951.
That's right, Connor.
Oh, okay.
Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah, they can put stuff on TCM from like 1984 now.
Robert Walker, Farley Granger, Pat Hitchcock, Nepo Baby, Ruth Roman. These are names of people in Strangers on a Train.
Yeah, it didn't actually matter. Once I found out once I found out that it came out in 1951, I knew I wasn't going to know any of them.
Well,
Strangers on a Train.
That's right.
It's about what? Strangers on a train?
Hey, they're like, hey, I really need someone to kill my mom. Hey, I really need someone to kill my wife. Why don't you kill my mom and I'll kill your wife?
The story concerns two strangers who meet on a train, one of whom is a psychopath who suggests they exchange murders so that neither will be caught. The film initially received mixed reviews, but has since been regarded much more favorably. In 2021, the film was selected for the preservation of the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being, quote, culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
There you go.
Good take by Josh.
That's me. Me and Congress handshake meme.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank
I
you,
think
Connor.
I'll sit out on my patio again and listen to music and probably prepare for the show tomorrow.
Hello.
That's what I'll do tonight. I did it again last night. It worked.
I will not prep for the show. I will watch Strangers on a Train.
All right, cool. That's it for us today. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossovers coming up next.